Had a 550 Yamaha at that then. Got a house angel to sell that for me. Ticket. Another lad in the area was going to Thailand. I said, I'll go with you. I was coming back from there, again on a dirt bike, a 125. And I see this big white pickup behind me. Not quite tailgating, but too close. And I see hand movement and that, which I figured out later was the walkie-talkie. Like in the Italian Job film with Michael Caine, but it's in Thailand, not Italy. Sheer drop down. You're only dead. And just a plastic bollard here and there. I'm coming back, and they got big gravel trucks, like grade 2 lorry size, yeah, full of gravel and that, because they're always building something there, with the windy roads right on the edge of the cliff. Quite often foreigners get clipped, all the rest of it, or the gravel spills off and they hit that and skid off, but don't go down there. On this particular occasion, I worked out that he was on the walkie-talkie to the truck. Now. Literally came right across my side of the road. So both his wheels are within my white line, because they drive on the side of us, straight for me, Shaun. I could only either smash into him, and I'm just going to be like a fly on the windscreen, aren't I? I'm only on a little bike, he's in a grade 2 truck. Or go off the cliff. 2 plainclothes got me. Then the guy that came in the toilet, you remember me? Sat like this, smack round the head, don't cross your legs. Oh, God. I thought it was polite here, but they're not polite. Very intimidating. Do you realise you could get the death sentence and we execute you? And all the rest. And yeah, you're just very in the moment, very zen. In the moment. Past doesn't matter, we're here now. What's next? Very scary. Handcuffed to a chair. A guy's English that was appalling. Spitting as he's shouting at you, because they really do hate China white, you know what I mean? Because you are worse than a murderer. You're worse than a murderer. Death sentence. I get to later about that. You get better amnesties if you're in, kill half a dozen people. You still get a bigger amnesty than someone attempted to smuggle drugs. Like the nightsticks they used to carry in this country, like the horsemen police, them long batons, one of them. Handcuffed to a chair, can't go anywhere, double prodded in the solar plexus and all that sort of nonsense. I thought, really? So I went in the barber shop, you know, barber scissors, the long points. Guards asleep in the chair as usual, or nearly asleep. So I've gone in the mirror, they stick out about there through there, like that. So I've done a couple of practice shots on that, put them back, waited for him to walk by, ran the corner, bang! So I've just nicked him, and all the rest of him, let him see the flash.
So, I am absolutely fascinated by Thai prison experiences. Many of you were mesmerised by the David Macmillan series. And our friend here, Johnny, he's got his book out, 18 Years in Thai Prison. Jonathan Wheeler. It's called The Tiger Cage. What he went through is no joke, folks. Sentenced to death. We'll get to that. He served decades. And he's got some of the hardest hitting stories I've ever heard. I've watched his other stuff, and his book's got almost 100 reviews in less than a year. So the link for that will be in the description box below the video, so please check it out. And as you guys know, we like to start out with a hard-hitting story on this channel, and then we'll go back to the full backstory. And Johnny's got a story about a samurai and an albino, haven't you? Huge thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah, samurais in Thailand are like the slum boys. And they're like the people that run the place. They're all proper tattooed up, Buddhist themes, usually all over their backs and everything. And some of them got tattooed faces, like on that coffee ad before, with the gun when he put his hands together, a little bit like that. So they're all tattooed up. All Thai boxers, because it's the poor that do the Thai boxing. So they're all dangerous. But unlike Western prisons, it doesn't kick off all the time, because it's about power, money. Building chiefs have big legs. They all put bids in to buy a building for how they can make money on the side in there, both with illegal things and running little things on the side. There's not going to be any cash, but everything's cash. Okay, samurais are the slum boys, all tattooed up. We use that because they're the ones that stab, carry out hits on people and all that sort of stuff. One of my friends, and Brian Bounsley, who I mentioned later on about Brian, who helped me out find my way in Bang Kwang. It was a good friend of his. You're in a scene where there's 18 of you in a room, average room, 23 foot by 13 and a half. So you've got about 2 foot of bed space. And your bed's 5 blankets sewn together with like a condom sheet put on it that you slide on, right? And your pillow, you roll it up and tie it with like a judo bout. So you've got several of these rooms. In the middle, you've got a corridor. And you can pay to stay in the corridor. That's a casino. The guards, you're locked up from 3:30 in the afternoon to 6:30 in the morning. Then you're kicked out in a 300 yard by 60 yard-ish compound with all sorts going on. Little market stall, little Sarah Powers things like little Yorkshire pudding-y type pancake things you buy in the morning for 5 baht to have with your coffee. Big woks, smoky scene, people sat on lockers, people sat under a tree. Right, casino's relevant. The guards charge you to go back in the daytime to go in the casino. They got mahjong, they got high-low, which is a 3 dice game, and all these other things. Noi, who's a samurai, he was sentenced to death to come down to life for killing somebody outside. He killed 2 more in there, stabbed 2 more, and he went in when he was 18. I left it prison in 2012, and he was in his early 40s and still had 30 to go.
Do you know why he did those other 2 people?
That was sanctioned. He was probably paid for that.
Hits.
When he done in there, or hits, or he got pissed off with somebody. One time, this Maori guy kicked his little kitten cat, and the cat was wriggling and all this stuff. And he said, if the cat die, you die, okay? And he would have done it. He really would have done it. The poor guy from Malawi, wherever, in the Nigerian den was in his south. You would, wouldn't you? Because you know he means it. Because he's so emotional. He was institutionalized, so the cat was his world. Anyway, this same Noi, he gave me some clobber once, last year when I was skint. He's a good guy. Deep down, he was a good guy, as prison goes. He borrowed some money for gambling, evidently, at the casino, but in night time, where you didn't have to pay to go in, just pay to go in the corridor. So he owed a tie. That was what it came down to. So you're in a smoky scene, one eye open, a bit tired, cigarette, get a coffee, Sarah Powell things, or the 2-finger ones stuck together, like fluffy pastry things, just something sweet in the morning, quick. And it's a smoky scene, and I'm half awake, and I see Noi getting his. I wasn't with him at that time, nothing like that, just see him getting served. And a Thai ran up behind him and clocked him twice in the back of the head, really hard, with what I thought was one of those things from the pedestal mortar, like the little baton thing. I thought it was one of them. It sounded like that, would be that. This clunk of like hitting a wooden box type sound. But that was his head, and the cleaver had dug right in. Oh. Deep, yeah? He took it all right. Sungali Alpha, who was a Senegalese albino, we used to nickname him Mr. Pink.
I love your descriptions, man. Your detail is phenomenal.
Sungari, he's about late 50s, maybe 60 years old at this time. Noi would have been late 30s this time, in his 30s, mid to late 30s. Sungari, 2 wives in Senegal, Muslim, yeah? 17 kids. Like, albinos often can't see very well, so he can't see right. But he used to be a wrestler and a boxer, half loony, big stomach and that, very squeaky voice. He had less teeth than me. So he managed to grab this other guy's hand with a cleaver in it and cut into his tendons with his thumbs, to shake the cleaver out of his hand using his wrestling abilities, shook the cleaver away. But Noi wasn't done. Noi carried on. He managed to get hold of the guy, pum, the Thai grappling. You put your arms onto the collarbones, top of the head, to cradle the head down. So he's kneeing him after the 2 hits in the head. And finally it got broke up. The guards come eventually and all the rest of it. This was early morning. Visits don't start till 9. When I went out the gatehouse, I knew Noi, but on that day I wasn't hanging out with him. I see him sat down in the guardhouse, blood everywhere, still waiting to go to the hospital building after 9 o'clock. And this happened like 6:30, 20 to 7 in the morning. Yeah, Sungri Alpha, yeah, he was the character. He died He was about 60. And the king kept promising a big amnesty for people 60 and over. He got so excited, he used to stay outside my room in the corridor, where the casino was, room 29 it was. He was outside there. I'd not long moved from there. He died of a heart attack, excitement.
Oh.
He got overexcited, see the 17 kids again, and he died. Yeah, that was Noi. And yeah, hospital, get sewn up eventually and everything like that. Really tough lads, slum boys, yeah. Become samurais, as we call them.
Wow, that's just a little taste of what's to come. And like I said, man, your level of detail is phenomenal. And,
One at the shower unit, another misty morning. No, this was afternoon. I see him go out on the trolley. The showers, you had a certain time limit, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. Big trough, the River Chaya Praya, yeah, which comes off the Mekong. It's a massive tributary off of that. And tropical fish coming through the filters, fry. Seriously, you're showering with fry. I had some. I had a fighting fish. Seriously. Right, Oscar. Anyway, so he's showering from the thing, and he got hit when he had the soap in his face and that with like a big sash clamp weight. He got hit 2 or 3 times on the head, watermelon, dead, just the nerves were going, like headless chicken type thing. And he was taken out on the rubbish and food trolleys that they drag in and out. I see that go past with him on it. That was probably the most violent scenes I sort of witnessed and just after witnessed with that.
Oh my God.
There were stabbings to death, of course. When a Thai's got a knife, they will only go for your heart and lungs. If they pick up a knife, they are trying to kill you, nothing else. Not a superficial cut to warn you, nothing like that. They're trying to kill you through the ribs, heart and lungs. That's all they're aiming for, if it comes down to it. But that's only rival samurais against each other or against a different group or a paid hit. That's only when that happens. Foreigners are usually exempt from that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Johnny, we want to understand what led to you ending up in this prison. So what was your life like before all this, like growing up and stuff? Whereabouts did you grow up?
Hythe, opposite side of Southampton Water, so starboard side of Titanic as it came down Southampton Water, pre-Solent, going right round to the Atlantic and across. I'm from there, edge of the New Forest. Beautiful. But as you come down back off the forest, you see all the chimneys of an old Esso. It's an old banger. Esso oil refineries there. So you see in the science, technology clash against the forest. I'm right from there. Lawrence Arabia was born there.
What year were you born?
1960.
1960.
Hyde Hospital. Conception at a rock and roll night in a toilet at the Pentecostal mission. The Holy Ghost. That's what they worship. Yeah, my dad went there, knew my mum already. And on Saturdays, they had a rock and roll night. And that's what happened. In the January, I was born in the October.
Did you get into punk rock when you were a kid?
Punk rock.
Yeah, wasn't that around?
Little bit. Stranglers.
Stranglers,
Little bit of Sid
yeah.
Vicious and that. Not too bad. I was more with a mate into the heavy metal scene at that time. We'd done the motorbikes and everything.
Thin Lizzy.
They were all right.
Yeah.
Boys are back in town.
Yeah.
Saying that, I met a woman in Fulham. I'm not joking. In a place called Pags, yeah. I met the guy that was Danny Dyer's son for 2 years in EastEnders from 2016 to 2018. I remember his bloody name in a minute. Got amnesia. Yeah. Where he drinks. This woman come in pissed with this bird from Uganda, who's a midwife. And it's his ex-girlfriend, Tin Lizzie's. She'd just been mugged. She had a 6,000 little handbag, 6,000 quid handbag taken off of her. Crazy, innit? Yeah, from Tin Lizzie. I forget his name now. So he died young, didn't he?
What were you like in school then?
Distracted, never ever done homework, lower midstream.
Why would you say that?
Because it's what I was.
Was there stuff going on at home that got you distracted?
Mum and Dad separated when I was 5.
Oh, that's rough.
I was born on a council estate, local one, with the sort of gypsies that now live in council houses and not caravans. That type of scene.
Yeah.
Quite a rough estate for our area. Nothing compared to Brixton or something back in the day, but quite rough. So I was brought up there till I was like 5. Mum had a fling with another guy who became his stepdad. Died recently at 91. He was all right. Bit like Alf Garnett. Anyway, that happened. The dad and I moved out to my nan's house, his mum's. So she was like me mum till I was 17. Had short trousers for a bit longer than I should have done. Not quite secondary school. I'm glad I didn't have to undergo that. So she's pretty much let me do what I want. But yeah,
So were you interested in anything at all at school, sports or anything?
Yeah, done martial arts.
What got you into that?
Trevor Nesbitt, Cecil, his nickname, a guy from South Africa, a white guy. In the first year, he'd done boxing, and I see him take a guy out with a neat combination. I said, "What's that?" I didn't even know it was boxing. He goes, "Boxing." I was only 12 or 13. I said, "Where'd you do that?" A place called Limerton. It's a conservative yachty place. And then when the yacht race finishes after the Isle of Wight round the world thing. And he went there. But my dad worked shift work. It's 10 mile. I was only like 13, 14 then, and I really wanted to go. So I couldn't go there. Too far to cycle really at night, one night a week. So I couldn't go to it. But what they did have was not a popular karate style. They had a little karate club at this ISR club. So I had a little 9-hole golf course there. Anyway, in the golf house and that, they had a little karate club, a guy called Ray Woodrun. I'm just in touch with guys now still from there. Kyushindu, a softer style of judo, really. Mr. Mayo started it. French. He went on to doing the karate thing, but it's sort of stand up right straight, a lot of circular blocks and stuff like that, which did come in handy. I was really good at blocking at school because I was little. So I blocked everything. I used to get mates to try and hit me and always blocked it. So I got drunk when I was young once and a big fat lip, usual stuff. I'd done that. When we used to go to Exmouth, Sandy Bay, became Devon Cliffs on holidays, caravan stuff, camping. That's where I met my first wife. I got married when I was 17.
17.
Wasn't my kid, thought it was. Nurses on strike, holding the leg up, no stirrups, all the rest of it. And the baby come breached, strangulated. I was as well, by the way. I was strangulated, blue baby, purple. Yeah, so I saw that when I was 17, all that sort of stuff.
Did the baby survive?
Yep, Brian, life of Brian. Brian, yeah, he was all right. Looked after them till I was 4 or 5. Then we split. It wasn't my kids anyway, but it was never sort of brought up.
And did you have any trouble with the law?
Nothing up until then. Nothing, zero. Except for breaking a greenhouse for the catapult, marbles when I was young, stuff like that. A little bit of shoplifting.
So what got you to gravitate towards Thailand?
Karate, Keith Wakefield. Really good instructor, little guy with a beard. Now in the Philippines with a Filipino wife and the English teachers.
So you're saying you went there to train?
Yeah, I couldn't afford the pub. I was just married and that's 17. I was 19 now. Steady job. I was a trainee buyer at that time. And motorbikes still had a 250 and that. So I went to karate. It was only 50 pence a week. Proper style, discerning style, Shotokan. So I went religiously 3 times a week, 50 pence, pint of orange squash after, no beer. Because I couldn't afford to go with the lads to the pub and that. Because it all went into the flat we had. I kept that up. I took a first stand, having moved back after being married and that. Always wanted to go to Japan. Long story short, crashed a asbestos van when I was doing asbestos removal and years span driving. I was running my own little roofing business, making £1,000 a week back in the late 80s, easily in 25 hours, seriously. Putting it straight in the casino, bad roulette habit. Always wanted to go to Japan for the karate, even though I trained with Japanese in England. Couldn't afford it. Had a 550 Yamaha at that then. Got a house angel to sell that for me, ticket. Another lad in the area was going to Thailand. I said, I'll go with you. That's how Thailand come about. And I got martial arts. I had to do Muay Thai. That's really all they had. That's how I got into the Muay Thai. Lived on Koh Samui 14 and a half months doing that. Fought 19 of them. Tried boxing with one of them because my legs were, I can't say, can I? My legs were knackered. And I had to do just boxing, but my guard was too low for the boxing that I always originally wanted to do, and knocked out in half a minute when on that one. So yeah, about 20 goes in Thailand. That was pre-prison. Where do you want to go from here?
How did you support yourself in Thailand?
Thai boxing.
You got paid to do it?
Yeah, I was semi-pro.
And how did you knack your legs?
That was because you're checking all the time, aren't you? You were checking a kick. You know what I mean?
Blocking kicks?
Yeah. It's sort of getting like a putty type texture.
Oh.
See that?
Yeah. So you're doing it without any pads then?
No, you don't fight with pads.
Don't fight with pads.
Got the cushion stuck. No, you don't fight with pads.
Yeah, well, I think people do now.
Yeah, just check. You get massaged up with some balm, but like warm oil.
Yeah.
The Thais, sometimes with foreigners, they don't bother. It's a bit naughty. But I sort of lived like a Thai, sort of almost semi-Thai, they used to say.
Yeah.
So they used to massage you up, push your stomach in on your stomach, because you've got to take a lot of knees in the stomach, get lats with shins and that, so you're oiled up. Vaseline on your face, plus sweat, size 6 gloves. You're slippery, aren't you?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's sort of, you feel the impact, not the pain, until later. Unless it's an elbow in your teeth, you feel those.
And did you typically knock people out or win on points?
I could win on points. It's like badminton. You got to initiate to get the point at the end of the rally, so to speak. For knees, you get points. For your roundhouses with your shin, same as the MMA stuff, yeah. But they took it for Muay Thai anyway, the stand-up bit really. Just put different guards with their arms. So you get points for that. You get points for your elbows, but that's usually TKOs with cuts. For punches, no points. And I was a punch by nature on my left, yeah. I got a natural left. And I could only win by knocking out. I did the 5 rounds on my second fight and lost on points. I thought it was pointless. So I used to go all out to try and take them within 3 rounds. I won 9 by knockout, 2 TKOs, 7 KOs. 2 of them carried out, 1 out 15, 1 out 20 minutes. Seriously. And then I was younger, wasn't I then? I was like 32, 33. And then the rest I lost. I was TKO'd and KO'd, but only by the count. I always managed to walk out the ring.
And those knockouts and punches, you said you left mostly.
Yeah, always by the left,
Yeah.
all of them. One, I did an uppercut off the back leg once. You know, when the shin kick comes round, he came with 1, came with 2, and as soon as he lifted his leg for the 3rd one, I uppercut him. And he was quite a good one that time. He was a pretty good fighter. And literally lifted his feet off the ground because I managed to get my hip under it.
Yeah.
Not an uppercut like Tyson, nice and close, a real long one.
Yeah.
The rest were just crosses.
Wow.
What we call gyakuzuki in Japan, so it's modified karate, your reverse punch, which is a cross really.
Yeah.
It was them I got most of them with.
So what happened with the bloke attempting to shoot you on the semi and the truck trying to run you off the road?
That was horrible. That was my boxing coach, Krian. He was originally from Patalung. I was there. I had been on Samui, had a few fights, been there a few months, knew the scene, Thai mates and Western mates, expats and that. And I was selling a bit of hash. I bumped into Nepalese. And I'll go to the Nepalese in a minute. One day, a military truck come. Leanne had came. She was a friend. She was an air hostess later on for Bahrain Air. But at this time, she'd finished college and everything. And she's having a little much around Southeast Asia. She heard I was there, come across from Malaysia. It was all faxes back then. She came over from Malaysia. She'd been learning acupuncture. So she came over to see me. And I always had a bit of cheese around because in the south, that's what I was selling. It's well behind on the Thai boxing, yeah. Up to a key, maybe a good month, 2 keys of it in 20-gram deals, maybe a quarter key here and there. And I used to, resin. I used to say to if the Thais did stop you, which they never did, you just say, oh, it's herbal medicine for stomach. They aren't quite caught on down there yet. Not that it was a really big sentence for that anyway. Leanne was there. This one day, I was in the little wooden bungalows on the beach. You got a little fan in it, a mosquito coil, the green coil you set on fire to get the mosquitoes away. I had all that. And this military truck arrived from down south, Nakhon St. Tamarat, from the mainland. A young soldier guy, like in his uniform. And this really stern, sharp-faced woman, a bit witchy, about 50, arrived. 3 black bin liner falls came off that of green, but it was bad green. All the blocks were different shapes and been pressed. One was rectangular, one was flat. I said, God, what's this? Boxing coach had arranged it. The guy that rang the bungalows was an Australian from Perth, Joe, lovely guy, been there a few years, with a girlfriend called Jackie, who's on her way travelling around the world, stopped there. So they had the bungalow called No Name, great name, and that good business, just out of town a little bit, in between Lamai and Shaun, nearer Lamai, right on this beautiful bay bit. And you had a Thai boxing camp backed onto it. It was all theirs, really.
I hope you're enjoying the podcast. It's a word from my sponsor, Shopify. When I started this podcast, there were a lot of things I had to figure out on my own. Algorithms, guest booking, marketing. I was a bit naive about what was involved, and as you get deeper into it, it starts to overwhelm your life. Finding the right tool that not only helps you out, but simplifies everything can be such a game changer. For millions of businesses, that tool is Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started, such as my co-host Ron's Pokemon business. Get started with your own design studio of hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand style. Accelerate your content creation. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. Get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.co.uk/Shaun, SHAUN. Go to shopify.co.uk/Shaun, shopify.co.uk/Shaun. Link in the description if you're watching on YouTube. Thanks for supporting our sponsor. Back to the podcast.
So there's 3 bags. Krian, the coach, moved me into the boxing trainer's bungalow and said, you go in there and threw the 3 big bin bags with me. I said, I don't want them. He said, just look after them for a few days. Oh, for goodness sake, Krian, you know what I mean? So I was looking after these bags. Leanne was there. I said, look at this bloody lot I've been lumbered with. I couldn't give it away, Shaun. It was real bad quality. Joe had been paying off the local Thai mafia. Thai mafia is a bit more like groups or gangs, really, but they call themselves mafia. They all drive the lowered wheels on the Mazda 4-wheel pickups and all that, the crew cabs. We didn't have them in the UK at that time. I loved them. They were black, proper darkened windows. It's all about, because cars are more on tax, so you get these pickups cheaper. So all the mafia gangs had those and their guns. So he was paying 5,500 about 100 quid for half a key of green before. Great business. Police left you alone. They were paid off. No one came near. Joe got greedy. These 3 bin liners. His idea was, no, I'll keep it and I'll bash it with a good one. I said, yeah, but you only got half a key of that. You got like 20, 21 keys here of this shit. Anyway, that was his plan. Within a couple of days, Suratani mainland undercover police, plainclothes police, sorry. They came in, swept all the bungalows. Of course, they found it. I'd got it out of mine by then. I said, no, you put it in yours. If it's no problem, why should I have it? You put it in yours. So I got it out this old A-frame bungalow, and it was put in his. Plainclothes come. Searched the bungalow I was in, where Leanne was and everything, and I had 50 grams of resin in there at the time. Took a couple of ounces. So I managed to knock that on the floor into a corner behind the bed leg thing. They didn't see it, because they know what they're looking for. They're not looking for my little bit. They're looking for bin liners. They found them. Joe he ended up doing 10 months. He got a lawyer come over, a Thai lawyer came over, called him a Tanai, a lawyer, came over from Australia to sort him out in Thailand. He was in Suratani mainland prison, and he ended up doing 10 months, kicked out of the country, and he was all right. He got away with it. Said it was someone else's, some tourist that left it there and that. Of course, he lost all the business, no name, lost his Swiss girlfriend. I see a couple of Jamaican lads that used to try and sell fake Rolexes on Samui Beach, passed through the main big prison where David was. David was saying that one, what he escaped from, passed through, and they told me the Joe story, that he'd done 10 months and everything, because I'd been there a little while, awaiting sentence by then. The reason they tried to hit me, Krian got paranoid, my boxing coach, because I was a witness. So he somehow got it in his head that he'd get in trouble. That's what it seemed to turn out to be, that. I was at a place called the Mix Pub, which is about your last place. The very last place is a police pub, of course, which is open all night. Okay, so the police, they do what they want, can't they? So I was in the Mix Pub, just going there on one of those MTX 125s. Now this little Nepalese guy on the back, who I used to get the resin off, Obi, his name was, Omar Agalung. He was on the back of the bike. He was a bit ill. A guy come out at the side in his dark patch. You know what you imagine big palm leaf, like grass roofs, half open, aren't they? Bamboo walls so high. And then you got the roof, because it's nearly always hot. And monsoon season, it holds off the rain. he's come along the bushes like in a poacher's jacket you get here, with like just one of those jungly type hats and all the rest of it. Long hair, moustache, beard. Looks a bit out of place. Little Thai, for Thai standards, he was little. And he come out just past where the bikes were parked, walking towards me. I thought, what's he want? And I'd see him pull up his shirt, and he had a chrome revolver. I know, because I'd been down the shooting range, shooting the 38 Special, and it looked just the same. And he was pulling that out, looking right at me. I thought, what can you do? Can't get off because the little nep's on the bike, and I'm thinking, I can't go nowhere, and it won't start. Luckily, a lady boy was walking up about 20 metres away. It's come to 15 metres. I went, Dio, Dio, which means, hang on, wait a minute, oi. All at once, sort of Dio means, yeah. And I got her attention. And matey, you know what I mean? You think, I get recognised here. There's a Thai. You know what I mean? Not so much from a foreigner's perspective, because we think they all look the same or something. But now a Thai's attention's on him. We put the gun back and went for a pee in the hedge. Managed to start the bike, running around the island for a whole week. Myself, hiding in different bungalows until Joy, my mate, was an ex-champion, opinion that 3 years in a row. He found me and he said, Johnny, it's all right. I saw Crean prior to that. I was hanging back on my bike, checking out the town all the time. I see them together go into a Thai foreigner, cheap calf restaurant type place, but biased Thai, going in there together. And he saw that I saw them together before Joy had found me again, so he knew it was all done. And he bought me food. He said, "Oh, come here, the little hitman, wannabe hitman." He'd probably done a few already. It was 10,000 baht for a hit, 200 quid. That's what pissed me off more. It could be at least 20 grand, can I? I'm worth that. 200 quid. Yeah, so that's what annoyed me more than anything, really. So yeah, that all fizzled out, went away. I moved back to the boxing camp, started boxing again. But yeah, very scary.
And what about getting run off the road?
That was a thing. Sorry, resin thing. You get a lot of foreigners out there, Germans, Norwegians. This is the case with Canadians. They get to know a few Thais, and it's always corrupt police, and that goes up to the highest levels, really. So they got them for a mate, and then they think they're immune, they're invincible, and they play this gang thing, think they're mafia all of a sudden. The whole objective is to get 1 million baht. They're nobodies, really. Not that I was or anything. And 1 million baht's about 25 grand English, yeah? At the time, 30 odd, 40,000 bucks American. So they all think they're up there when they got that sort of money. Because of the resin, and I've made the link with the NEPs. The NEPs, by the way, in our army, we take none of them at all, are they? But the taller of the Nepalese, Gurung and Rai families, they're recruited into the British Army. Yeah, the Gurkhas. But there's other little ugly ones that they don't, or not so good looking ones, they don't put in the army. They're the naughty ones, like with my mates that were doing the resin and everything else. They've got to do something, haven't they? Yeah. So that's what they were doing. That's the ones I knew. Okay. They thought I was treading on their toes because I was getting it for 25 baht on a gram. Yeah. 25,000 baht on a key, 1,000 bucks. It's a bit cheaper in Bangkok, 17 to 18, but they bring it in big kit bags, like kit bags, but oranges and yellows and red colours. And they bring in a lot of this leathery jewellery with beads and a little bit silvery stuff on it, even cheaper clothes than the Thais. They have 4 keys bunged in that, and that's how it comes into Bangkok. My mate dealt with that, the net, but by the time it reaches the island, it's gone up from 17, 18,000 baht, Bangkok like that, to 25. I'm happy with the 1,000 on the key. So I was selling it for like 50 baht, double my money, which is fair, I thought. But I was treading, they were selling it for 100 of that, these Canadians and that, and they felt I was treading on their toes, playing the mafia game. Thais aren't really interested because they don't even smoke it. They're not into resin, they're into their weed thing. That's their green thing. So I thought, I don't do touch their thing, and they're not interested in mine. That's why I got on with the Thais, because I want to tread on their toes. That's why they don't like foreigners taking money that they could have earned. And especially the beachy ones, because before tourism, the families, in their will, whatever, left the good kids the arable land up in the mountains with all the greenery to get good food and that. And the hot beaches, which only a bit of fishing, they give the black-hearted ones. Tourism come along, they become the rich ones. That's what happened there. So these Canadians. I was coming back from Shaun one night, which is your main town on the island, where the reggae pub, Green Mango, I think they're both still there, but just obviously refurbed and that. I was coming back from there, again on a dirt bike, a 125, and I see this big white pickup behind me, not quite tailgating, but too close. And I see hand movement and that, which I figured out later was the walkie-talkie. Like in the Italian Job film with Michael Caine, but it's in Thailand, not Italy. Sheer drop down, you're only dead. And just a plastic bollard here and there. I'm coming back, and they got big gravel trucks, like grade 2 lorry size, yeah, full of gravel and that, because they're always building something there, with the windy roads right on the edge of the cliff. Quite often foreigners get clipped, all the rest of it, or the gravel spills off and they hit that and skid off, but don't go down there. On this particular occasion, I worked out that he was on a walkie-talkie to the truck. Now. Literally came right across my side of the road. So both his wheels are within my white line, because they drive on the side of us, straight for me, Shaun. I could only either smash into him, and I'm just going to be like a fly on the windscreen, aren't I? I'm only on a little bike, he's in a grade 2 truck. Or go off the cliff. And you know those fisherman trousers you tuck in? They're like big flares, aren't they? Sort of hippie-ish there. That's sort of a theme you wear there. On them plastic bollards, I dropped down 2 gears, kicked in, and it's hitting the trousers on the plastic bollards. I got round. I stopped and looked back. I can't do nothing unless I got a gun. That's the only chance I got. And I had that scene. Nothing came about after that. I looked back, went to turn around to go after the pickup, and he's on a 3-point turn. I went, so definitively I knew it was them. Recognised the car, some Canadian guys. Yeah, so I just told the boxing camp and that, and tried to get ties to spread the word. That one went away. Had I not got arrested for prison, I might have been got the 3rd time, you know that?
Oh my
might have been
God.
a blessing.
So, what was the run you did that you got caught that ended up with you going to prison then?
They got me to prison.
Yeah.
These 4 kilos of resin that were coming in, a guy got greedy, one of the NEPs, and tried to bring in 7. Kathmandu side paid off, it always came through. He got caught with a 7, so blew the root of the resin. It stopped how they do that. So, let's cut his coffee. Having that blocked, that was my main little earner. Because the Thai boxing says 50 quid, 75 quid and all that sort of stuff. Because you're only at provincial level, which is still twice as much as most of the Thais got. So I only had the Thai boxing. I had to do visa runs every 3 months, going to Malaysia and all this type of stuff. So I thought, oh dear, what can I do? So my Nepalese mate said, you could try this out. Carry some China white to Taiwan. I'd already been to the other island, Koh Phangan, and it was the same money for doing it, to try and carry the resin, a kilo of it, to Japan, and they only want top quality cherries, like apples or anything. So they only want the best, don't they? I thought, I could finally see Japan. And it's a reasonable sentence there, 4 or 5 years. I've a couple of friends that are in there at a later date, and it is very strict. You can't sit with your legs crossed, nothing like this. Anyway, that wasn't on. I couldn't get a Japanese one with the cherries. So, China white, I got offered. I said, let me think about it. I'd been living in Thailand over a year at this point, like 13 months. Anyway, I was stupidly gullible, said, yes, I'll do it, thinking I'd get 15, 20 years and be out, like similar to British parole, be out a bit sooner. So when I said yes, they activated really quick. Over to Koh Phangan for a night at a place called Sanctuary, my mate Steve ran, which was Mexican hammocks, hour and a half walk over the mountains, or in the right season, 10 minutes round on a long-tailed boat to get round there. You're trapped there, really. He had a great team. Because it's so far to walk back, people didn't bother moving, so he sucked all the money. Bit yoga-y, Tai Chi, hippie-ish type stuff, meditation, you know what I mean, one of them places. Went there for the night to chill out, and then it was straight to mainland Shoratani, Bangkok, supposed to be within 5 days. That 5 days turned into a month. In Bangkok, running out of funds. I met an English guy, John, the bastard from Oxford, tattoos up. He's the one that snitched me. I know he did, because he said a name of police liaison officers in the British Embassy, and he's the only one that said the name, and he appeared after I was arrested at the police station, interrogated everything, and he's the only one that appeared. So how would he know that name? It was definitely him. 5 days turned into a month. Met this guy called John, tattooed neck and all the rest of it, Thai wife. Her dad was a high up police colonel type person in Rayon, where Koh Samet and Koh Chan are opposite, in between Bangkok and Pattaya, that town. But they're in Bangkok now, staying in the cheap Koh San Road area where we were. Mentioned that resin. I can't remember that night. So, caught a key he took. So I kept us towards that month. I should be financed, but I'm financing everybody now. And a week later, about half a key he took. So that kept us there for the month. 3 or 4 dummy runs. You're going now. So your night out and all the rest of it, your heart like this. I should really be doing this. So I run. I could get a ticket home. No one I could ring to borrow the money. Right? Cockroaches at my return ticket. So that was all useless. What can I do? Okay, I'll do it. Counselled. 4th or 5th time, actually went. Motorbike taxis, all the rest of it. They knew I was coming. And John had just came and said, have you got any green? Knowing we wouldn't have it. But Obi had found some loose crumbs in a plastic bag in an airing cupboard place in this cardboardy guest house. And there was about a Z in there. And I said, funny enough, you should say that, John. Yeah, I have. And I gave him the dust. He didn't expect it. But he come before and saw a ready bag on a visit before when he come for the resin and said, oh, you're going in that. So he knew about it, but he didn't know when. But he knew when he saw the bags that it was all packed and everything, I was about to go. And I think he'd been giving word back either to the wife's dad or this John Cooper guy. And because when we got there, it was all a bit mad rushy. We went on motorbike taxis. And it was all last minute stuff. You could see it wasn't the usual decoy thing. Know you're coming, catch him, 5 others go through. It wasn't one of them. When I went there, I said to him, it's a bit dodgy. There's a police car outside there, outside the entrance. And I said, there's a few of them about, nah, it's all right. I went for a piss, and the police captain, the plainclothes one, actually walked in when I went in. And I just threw the bag down nonchalantly, like it was a normal bag. He brought all this up later. I went the wrong way, found a storeroom with loads of bags. I thought I could stash it here and come back and nick it back later. What you've got is similar size as this book. A bit smaller, similar thickness. China white from the Shan states. You know it's commie Buddhist there, don't you? Yeah. So they've got this. They got like 40,000 private soldiers. The AK-47 RPG stuff. So a block's about nearly as big as that book. A bit smaller. 350 grams standard. 2 lion's head stamps on it in red. Chinese writing. To stay powder, it can't be any more than 92%. Otherwise it turns to putty, because the other chemicals needed to keep it dry. I only found out this in later years. I didn't know all this stuff when I was going to take it. And that, David would. So it's like that. 85 to 92 guaranteed. So I had 3 each side in a head bag, with the 2 zips, and then you got your middle zip. So I had all these clothes in the middle, and they put carbon paper around it. Perfect touches, no creases in the fold. So there's a guy that does that. For a little while, I thought it was the bag man that done it, because he could say, oh, it's that style of bag, you know what I mean? Before I realised it was John. Anyway, that's packed by a professional. That's his job. 3 in each side. I was told there'd be 2, so 1.4. When the police got me, the DEA of Thailand are called the Baba. So when they got me, there was 3 in each side. Yeah, so they put an extra 2 in, the cheeky sods. But it would have been the same sentence, the same crime, 1.4, 2.1. It's all the same amount of stuff. Didn't reach the X-ray in the airport. And you pay, I think it was 200 baht, might have been 500 baht at that time, to leave the country. They wait till you do that. Once you've done that, you're now international. It's not just Thai soil anymore. And you're a sort of like home office criminal. You're now foreign office. And the DEA pay a bounty to the Thais, a reward. That's why you can't backhand the Babasol, because they're already getting paid well by the DEA to catch people like me, to make an example of as an international smuggler, as a deterrent. So that's how that worked. They snagged me. Why are you going to Taiwan? I was going to Taiwan. I wasn't even in the Western Hemisphere. It was for Chinese mafia, triad people, you know what I mean? So I used to meet the guy over there, give him it, get the $10,000 and all the rest of it, and that was it. But it didn't work out like that. In 2 plainclothes got me. Then the guy that came in the toilet, you remember me? Sat like this, smack round the head, don't cross your legs. Oh, God. I thought it was polite here, but they're not polite. Very intimidating. Do you realise you could get the death sentence and we execute you? And all the rest. And yeah, you're just very in the moment, very zen, in the moment. Past doesn't matter, we're here now. What's next? Very scary. Handcuffed to a chair. A guy's English that was appalling, spitting as he's shouting at you, because they really do hate China White, you know what I mean? Because you are worse than a murderer. You're worse than a murderer, death sentence. I get to later about that. You get better amnesties if you're in, kill half a dozen people. You still get a bigger amnesty than someone attempting to smuggle drugs. Like the nightsticks they used to carry in this country, like the horsemen police, them long batons, one of them. Handcuffed to a chair, can't go anywhere, double prodded in the solar plexus and all that sort of nonsense. I thought, really? You know what I mean? I trained for Thai boxing and that was still strong, pretty muscly, but you're not on your solar plexus. So that buckled me up and everything. So I had to endure that. Everyone else I spoke to, when I later went to prison, hadn't been through that experience. Nobody. Only myself. The Neps took there. There was a Nepalese. He brought it across town, the bag. I managed to get him out, saying I'd never seen him in my life. Obi, I couldn't, because he had my photograph on him in his little thing to give the Chinese to say, he looks, you know what I mean? He looks like that. So they messed him around. I didn't know. He got caught with his, he got done. Guilty, not guilty. He ended up with life. I ended up with a 50.
But how long did it take to get processed to get that 50?
20 months.
So what was that 20 months like?
Anticipation, because you listen to everybody's stories.
And you're thinking that you're going to get the death penalty for that 20 months.
Yeah, you're trying to swerve it. Some people saying entry fee for Bang Kwang at that time was 33 years and a third, 4 months, just to get in the place. That's what you had to have. That's the lowest sentence, right through the death on one of the 2 death rows that they eventually had. Prior to that, you're where Daniel was, which was, we were called more the Big Tiger, hence the Tiger Cage, the book. But where Daniel was, David, is the, that's the proper Hilton, really, what people call the Hilton. Even though Bang Kwang was called it was Klong Prem. Bangkok area was the actual Hilton. Right, it's a big complex, as you know from the escape story and that. Bombats attached to it. That's sort of like your more remandy place for drug cases only, where you get processed. They keep them there for years now, 3-4 years or so. But it used to be 3 or 4 months. That's your strictest one. That's where I met Kojak. Kojak was your bold Nazi Thai guard that was brutal. Yeah. Everybody's walking about, you hear these sounds and he's getting hit on the head with batons, and they put like little tampons on their head and sew over them, so it's like Hilda Ogden's curlers. But everyone's walking about with everything. What is this place? That's brutal, strict. Right, you're bad boys, look where you've entered. So you put up with 3 or 4 months of that on average. Then you're channeled through internally to the White House, we called it, which is your main process building as you go into the large house system of that prison. I was there a bit over 16 months. That's where I met David. Everything, chatted to him for quite a few times over that period.
So what crazy stuff did you see during this remand period?
Not really crazy whilst I was there. In later years, some Chinese guys with Chinese ties, they called them Chu Chao, like the Man City boss who used to be Prime Minister, the corrupt one, Thaksin Shinawatra. Mm-hmm. I think his sister's Prime Minister at the moment, probably in Cambodia. Anyway, they tried to escape in the rubbish van. And they got Mac 10s or Heckler & Koch, the little machine guns, the 9mm stuff. Mac 10s are extremely inaccurate. Anyway, they tried to escape in the van, and basically rats in the barrel, the guards just shot them. Another one, you got the razor wire, big coils, guard towers. They got pumped shotguns in the towers, and a load of ties and everything agreed, right, we're going to escape from Bombat. When it came to the time, only one guy done it. Oh, fuck you lot, you cowards. He went for it, got tangled up in the barbed wire, and the guard executed him, just shot him. No need. He's tangled up. He's going nowhere. He was tangled up. They shot him dead. There was a protest. They caught everything on fire and everything. So that's when the Bombat lads, they were moved to Bang Kwang, to everything. Even though they hadn't been sentenced yet, they rehoused them in high security places because of the fire. That's the worst two things I know about Bombat. I wasn't there during those.
So did you have to get a local lawyer?
Yeah, Talai. Sisapong Laksa. My mum got him. He used to be the main prosecutor in northern Thailand, in Chiang Mai. And that was his main thing. But during his semi-retirement, he went to being a normal lawyer and had his staff. I had one of his guys used to come to see me on behalf of my mum.
Trustworthy?
You can't trust any Thais. You're better off with a Thai bar girl that gets to know you, and she knows you haven't got a lot of money anymore, and you're working together to create cash and that, and she's hanging around with you still. You could trust that sort of Thai, like a girl like that. Or my mate Choi from the Thai boxing. That was ex-chap that you really do befriend properly. But on average, no, you can't.
So this lawyer then, what did he tell you?
He was good. He was good for Thai standards. They're good for getting you shopping. Like in Bombat, you needed, your currency was tam chai, which is aspirin-y type stuff in a little sachet, yellow and blue. You exchange that for cash. You get those. You trade. It's like a middle. It's like your cash. You get a case of Pepsis or Tangos or whatever. I used to get 2 or 3 cases of that. That was Bombat, not the other prisons. You get your tam chai, and that's what you buy your goods with when you're in there, except for ordering from the coffee shop, which is the main thing. So he used to always make sure I got supplies, come every couple of weeks on my mum's behalf and tell me how the case was going. Like, you go to court every week or every 12 days or something, then it's every month. There's a process. It took 20 months before I finally got sentenced. And he hung around telling me when it was coming and just basically said, look, I could get you 50 years.
Did he tell you that in the beginning?
Yeah, he said that. And Alexander Krebs, another guy, quite a good artist. He was in the prison, a Jew, South African. He'd just been arrested at the same time. And he got pretty upset. He goes, I can't do 50 years for that. He actually ended up with life in the end.
When he told you, I can get this death sentence reduced to 50 years, how did that make you feel?
I'd learned that there's repatriation treaties. And if you got a number, of which 50 was, you could repatriate after 4. But it usually entailed about a year's paperwork if you're English, American a bit quicker. And if you had a life sentence, which is tantamount to 99 or 100 years, you had to wait 8 years before you repatriated.
So 50 to you meant you could transfer back to the UK after 4.
Yes.
But would you have to serve how much then in the UK?
Little did I know at that time, I thought you could wriggle out of it. Yeah. But they keep you for half because they link it. It's like common law and civil law. They're civil law. Like 2 bumper cars crashing together and mashing together. They've made a repatriation treaty. And the Europeans are all right. They make you do say, right, we couldn't give you that sentence. We say it's the highest one we give you on a number. And we give you parole after 18 months in this country, after you're 4 and a bit or 8 and a bit.
So you're still looking at a few decades.
Yes. And the Americans, the Canadians, it's 3 or 4 months. You're getting that on parole. When you got back after you're 4 or 8. The 18-month thing didn't come into a later date. That time when I was there in Bombat, I didn't realise that it was 18 months for Europeans. The Brits, they give you, I do the 3-4 months for Americans, Canadians. The Brits make you do half your sentence. So after 4, I'd have 46 left. 23 years I was about to stay.
And how old were you at that point?
33.
33?
Yeah.
So you were looking at getting out in your 50s, 60s?
Yeah, I got sentenced at 34. Yeah, 33. So I was looking at 23 years for parole that they might not give you. They could still say, no, not yet. That's why I stayed and refused the repatriation treaty and served my time there because I didn't bring the criminal record back with me.
How stressful was it to accept that you were going to lose those prime years of your life?
Horrible. Because I was imagining I'd go back to England, go back to my roofing. When I was doing the Thai boxing and that, I got offered some bungalows, short notice. I didn't have time to go back to England after a year. go back to fixing roofs, which is like $3,000 a week now. That's a lot of money, isn't it? I made $6,000 one week in a storm. That's like 18 grand in a week. Bad roulette habit though, so it all went as quick. So I had to try to get the money here to get these little 4 bungalows up on this black volcanic type rock overlooking the bay. So up a track, 5 minutes in a little Jeep or on a dirt bike, you could put a wire across the road. So the police, by the time they got there, only make a single skinner, the police are coming and still have time to smoke it. So I wanted that place, and it had jungle behind it, and they're not going to come through that with all the snakes and that. So that's what I wanted, to put a little Thai boxing camp, shut at 10 at night before they go to the bars, so you could have a safe joint. That's all I wanted. So that's why I wanted to run to pay for that and buy the little Suzuki 410 or 413.
What was the day of your sentencing like, and was your mum there?
No, my mum appeared when I was still at the police station. You're 7 days in Chinatown. That's quite a daunting place. I managed to get 50 grams of resin in there, in sausage rolls. So I got through that week. I was stoned. You needed to be, trust me. But yeah, my mum come out with a Daily Echo page for the local newspaper, and a friend came with her and all the rest of it. One of my mates that had visited me out on the islands. The day of sentencing, I had 2 Thai missionaries who used to visit me for Sukhumvit, and it was, I remember what they were in a minute, Emmanuel Church. And it was Christine, married to an American, probably an ex-GI, and the other one was Ning, so it was Chris Ning. They used to come and see me and that. And Ning came, very pretty girl. She had a couple of kids and that. And she cried her eyes out when I got sentenced. And I'm thinking, I wanted 30 or 25, which would have kept me in the Hilton, in the large owl prison, in that one, which is bigger and more open. But because I got 50, it meant Bang Kwang. I thought, fuck. But I thought, result, I only got to stay 4 years. Imagine getting 50 years sentence, you think, result. Because at this point, I still thought I'd wriggle out some way when we repatriate into England. Yeah, it wasn't until after I'd done like 3 years, I thought definitively, no, there's no way out of it. They stick to the letter of the treaty, even though it's mashed together. They still stick to it. And I would have had to do, you get amnesties, King's birthdays, Queen's, every now and again. If you're a foul smuggler or whatever, as I was, right, just carrying a bag, you get, if you're lucky, a 5th or a 6th cut. And you have to have excellent class as well. A murderer, I get a 3rd. Mass murderer, I get a 3rd cut. And you're thinking, wait a minute, mate. You know what I mean? I know you're Buddhist and all this stuff, but wait, you're 3rd. And we get a 5th or a 6th if we get it at the best. So those numbers would come off and count as well. There's also a thing called good days. If you best behaviour every year and that, you get a couple of months knocked off. The Thais do. Now, I'm the same as, I was a Thai boxer, for God's sake, lived with Thais, done the Thai thing, done the Thai sentence, yeah, didn't go on the treaty, just like a Thai. If a Thai done exactly the same as me on the same day, he would have got out a year before me. Or 3 years, because he would have got good days, which is 2 months a year times 18 is 36 months, 3 years, isn't it? I didn't get them because the British government, Blair era, started in Major, intertwined it in the repatriation treaty. Don't get your good days unless you sign the treaty. I thought, what's the treaty got to do with it? It's a Thai thing.
Did you speak to the judge on your sentencing day?
There's 3 of them. There's 3 judges.
Did you speak to them?
No.
You didn't?
No, they didn't get, just, you'd put in peasant clothes, browns it was, like hard cotton, harsh cotton, rough cotton. Shorts you do up with a string, and the shirts that you're not in your Sunday best. You're presented like that with 4 kilo shackles on that you're holding up. So you look like a criminal straight away, all of them. Some have them tailored a bit, the prisoners, but the same brown tweeds.
So you never got to speak to the judges at all throughout your entire remand? And
they only turn, the stenographer or whatever goes, and they only record bits of it. They don't record the whole case. They just, when they, put tape recorder on now, record a little bit. And the stenographer's kid, a little 5 or 6-year-old running around in the dock and that, and you go, what? They're not quite putting the black bit on their heads, you know what I mean? But it's like, people get sentenced to death here, mate, and your kid's running around. Yeah, it's a bit surreal.
So you got this huge amount of time you're facing, and then you contemplated an escape plan with David Macmillan?
Yes, but it was with other people, who's called Peter in the book as a German, but he's neither of those. But he's like a political advisor nowadays. I don't really want to say too much. Yeah. How can you be in Bang Kwang? And anyway, he is. The other guy was an American, Garth Todd Hatton. He'd done 4 years in Japan before. He was a surfer. He's in prison now, I think, for white. He never learns. It was with them that we planned something. But yes, with David, I said, oh, if you go, can I come along? But he's very seriously discerning, professional, academic, smart, clever guy, highly dangerous. You know, I used to watch him run around the lawn, yeah, and he had baggy shorts and that. Oh, bless his heart. He's like, because I was kung fu and Thai boxing, and Daniel's running. Daniel, I know him as. He's running around the lawn, 20 press ups just about. Bless him, he's trying. It was a little lawn as well. He ran around there, but he was probably the most dangerous guy ever been in there. You know what I mean? In a intelligent way.
So what happened with this escape plan then? Did it not?
With Dad, I said, can I go? If you go, can I go, please? As well. But that would have meant moving in his room, which I didn't. I chose my own room because in my imagination, I was about to get the ex-Vietnamese War sleeping tablets, which were pink and really potent, and give all the Thais a treat and knock them all out so I could get out the window, which I hadn't figured out how to do. I didn't have the acid and stuff that David, I found out later, had or anything like that, because I thought I'd go out past the White House and only over one wall. But from since seeing interviews with you with him and that, I realised there's loads of walls. You went over like 7. So I probably would have had 5 or 6 to go over without realising it. So it wouldn't have worked. I went in with a Thai boxing coach guy, and I thought maybe move into David Daniels' room and go. My plan was to get down south to Koh Pang Nang, because at Chum La Pon they have Vietnamese fishing boats. They probably would have used me as bait, wouldn't they? But I had a few $100s in cash in $20 bills. So I would have paid them off with that to take me to Vietnam, take my chances. I thought I could just get another passport at the embassy. How did you get here? Magic yourself here. But they do give passports pretty easy, as David said. So that's what I thought I'd be able to do in my mind's eye then, which was a bit deluded, to be honest. I probably could have reached south in a short time. I hadn't been to that part of Koh Pang Nang, but I knew people that had, and they were Westerners, probably wouldn't snitch me. Catch up with them. I could have hid away at Sanctuary for a little while, jumped on one of those boats to Vietnam, took my chances. Little did I know the Brits would probably just hand me straight back. Yeah, that was my plan with Daniel as far as it went. I already got sentenced on December the 27th of 95. So I was... you do a week in Building 5, familiarise yourself with your 4 kilo shackles for a week, bit smaller building, then you go to Bang Kwang. David escaped the August of 96. I think it's 20 or 21st, Hitler's birthday, I think.
What was his living conditions like? Because didn't he have money so he was able to get better conditions?
He wouldn't use the wok, he wanted a frying pan. I remember when he got his frying pan, an English one, normal frying pan, and a toaster. Quite a few times he gave me jam on toast and that. I just talked about my Buddhism and my Kung Fu and that, but David's reading American Scientifics and stuff like that. You know what I mean? He's proper intelligent. But we had some great chats. He had there's a picture factory, and they make picture frames of that, probably like he used on his ladder with the bamboo poles, and they do stenciling with these very thin. Like it takes a while to learn all this squirrely stuff, dragon heads, walking sticks, picture frames, whatever. And they got a shop, they sell it all outside. So he was in the factory where they do that artwork. He was at the side of it with his own big awning down there, guard running to the ATM for him to get his stuff, and all this type of stuff. So, yeah, I had like 75 quid a month at that time. But I linked up with a guy, funny name, Li Ping. His name was Fang Yahai. Dad in the Air Force, colonel level. Tiananmen Square, 89. He hit a soldier on the head with an iron bar. It either paralysed him or put him in a coma. Can't remember which. Escaped through Burma, through the Shan Sapes. It's the same place as China White's made. He got through all that. Got into Thailand. Some sort of relative. Ended up robbing people with a knife and things like that. Got 4 years for it. He became a really good friend. Strong. Walking about in a pair of apple cuts and pants all the time and that, but muscly. He wasn't gay or nothing. And my money hadn't come. He helped me out. Friday, cabbage and rice, strange mixture. In the end, we had a food group with people from Scottish, Irish, South African, Thai, mainland Chinese from the south, Singaporean. We had a great food group, and I'm getting all this different kung fu from him, and it's great. And so that passed the time and take my mind off what am I going to get sentenced during that 16 months there, and seeing David now again in the mornings for the jam on toast and all that stuff. It was an okay scene, spacious. Some guys from Kenya, they'd done motors there, like a garage section. There were stolen cars from the street, totally dismantled them right down to the chassis, reassembled them and take them out. There's no police are going to look in there for them, are they? The guards are bringing them in. So these Kenyan guys, there was that there. There's all stuff going on. But you had Thais, which were a bit annoying with a 1 and 2 year sentence. So unlike Bang Kwang with a 33-year entry, everyone's a bit calmer. Got a long time to go here, chill out. It wasn't like that. It's a bit more hectic. So you had a lot more dodgy ones in there where David stayed.
So what was it like moving to Bang Kwang?
Daunting at first. But the Chinese group already gave me a mainland. The guy that taught me the weird with acupuncture, putting magnets on, I went really far with it, honestly, leaving the hustle of the body and the energy going outside. I'd done all that, and I didn't realise that ChatGPT would know about all this. I only looked into it yesterday, and it does understand magnets and everything else and that, but it's not really, it's quite esoteric. Acupuncture is usually for cure, isn't it? But it's also like you put your chi on a graphic equalizer. You're in the force, yeah? You're bioelectric. So I was arranged to meet that guy, skinny little madman. Do you remember the Wing Chun movie, Ip Man? The Ip Man movie where he beats up 10 karate guys, then he beats up the really good one in the ring at the end, the master. Remember that movie? Remember the little Chinese soldier with the gun that shot him with a skinny face? He looked just like him. That Fang looked exactly like him, my acupuncture, Qigong teacher. He looked like that guy in the movie, like his brother. So I knew I had to meet him. I was lucky I was put in the same building, and there were 7 other Brits in the building when I went there. Plus, I went into a foreigner room, backhander to the building chief to keep the numbers down, the one with 18 in it all the time, which I ended up preferring being with Thais. But at this time, 11 of us with a Thai spy in the room. 1 Thai, always the spy, 10 foreigners from all over, loads of bed space. An English guy had made the first satellite dish, but the actual point thing at the satellite, he had to buy that, obviously. He got guards to get that, and he had mild steel rings, everything. I give him a compass. That was the one I got to use for the escape. So he managed to use that somehow, and he got it all. In the end, he got there. Later, there was a satellite building. But this, I don't want to say his name, but he's a real smart guy. He got on with David as well. They're the same sort of level of intelligence, proper academics, clever people, high IQs and that. Anyway, he made the satellite dish. So you have a jack plug coming out the telly, 2 sides with long wires with all your headphones for your little Walkmans that you could plug in. So you could, if you want to watch it, you could watch the telly. They had all the satellite thing. Every room chief, every month from all the rooms would come down and vote what to watch from the selection. CNN included and BBC back in the day, but they stopped them. Couple of movie channels, National Geographic, Discovery. At this time we watched that programme, majority vote, so that's what you watched if you plugged in. The foreigner room was about that. Yeah, with your little spy jet. He was Vietnam War. They wanted scouts, jungle people, because he was from up north, Chiang Mai Railway, and he was the guy that they give him $1,000 a month, the Americans, during that war. And they were the secondary brigade in, secondary platoon. The first one went in like Virgin and done all that. They went up and picked off the stragglers. He was the guy that done that with the Americans. He was our room chief.
Wow.
He had the photos and everything. You know what I mean? It's real.
And did you develop another escape plan at this point with a helicopter?
That's where we started off, wasn't it? Yes. The guy called Peter, that's not German really, that's in the book. He was very left-wing and had Burmese contacts, probably the junta or the junta nicking people that were in the junta, taking the helicopter and getting us. We were nearer the Burmese border than Cambodia. And David himself told me that it was 35 minutes by helicopter to get to Cambodia, which was a bit of a awkward thing. So I believed in Dan. I think he believed in himself a little bit too much, but it was great to talk about and have ambition. Because I'd done a bit of asbestos before, that's what I do now, isn't it? The visit room had asbestos sheet roofs, and I thought I could beat my way through that. Not too hard, right? Have your visitor bring some clothes as well. I worked out that one. So I used to chat about that with them as well. But little did I know that you come out of the visit room straight into the guardhouse. So that wouldn't have worked either. But in case I mentioned that to someone, it was interesting to know. I only told 1 or 2 people involved. Within a year, they had metal mesh up there on the roof. So I thought one of the bastards talked. But just the thought of, even though there's a guardhouse, they still thought, maybe there's another way. And they blocked that off. But the helicopter thing, no. That couldn't come about. That took in the helicopter coming down, guys with AK-47s, a little bit sort of, I think Dan watched a few too many movies, you know what I mean? And the surfer guy, because he'd been in Japan before, Todd, he was right into it. He really hated the prison more than most. Freedom of the surf and the beach lad, wasn't he? Like I said, he's back in there again now for white or something in America.
So what was the fighting school?
I was with a guy called Mike Braun, a guy from Seattle. He's done the fishing off is it Alaska, the salmon and the halibut, long lining. He done all that stuff. He was Golden Gloves boxer. And I used to get combats and fighting art mags back in the day, just before MMA. It was all these mags. And I say, a lot of people talk shit, don't they? So he didn't sort of believe me. I said I could get that if I wanted. License to teach even in here. Bit like Mark with his banking, but not quite as profound, getting his hedge fund thing. So he said, yeah, right. So just to prove a point, really, I said, all right, I'll do it. So Richard Hopkins from World United Martial Arts, he's still about now. He had a lung collapse with a blood clot thing from the collapse, something like that, you know. He's only just getting over it, 3 years to get a bit of breathing back. But he's got a strong spirit, you know what I mean? He was in 70 odd countries, you know, for martial arts. So he took me on. I had the qualifications and he gave me another first dan in freestyle. So I thought when I started, people from Nigeria, I even had Hong Kong lads, a couple of Chinese lads, Japanese. It looks mad, doesn't it? An Englishman showing these and the ties and the martial arts. It doesn't look right. But I got proper certificates, licenses, the whole bit, all free. So I never charged either. But when I was skinting that, they'd help me out with cigarettes and a bit of food, the students. I'd done that every day for years. That's what kept me sane. I didn't do it in Japanese because we were in Asia already and all spoke English. So I spoke it through in English, loosened it all up a bit, you know, the katas, the set series of movement, done the proper grid of those, but a bit more relaxed. Mixed in Muay Thai with it. So it was all stand-up stuff. So I'd done the two together. It's really good students. I had Nepalese Gurkhas, everybody in there. Japanese judo guy, he had a second hand, but he done it, Makoto Anawa. So I'd done that for ages.
So did that create a community then for you?
Yeah, a proper little community. Yeah. And that was a good together. I had a couple of phases myself on the China white, but even when I was on that, I still went and taught. That was my discipline. I felt obligated to do that. So yeah, that kept my head together. That was Bang Kwang. And I'd done that until I left, really. Kept people on and off going and that. Chandra Kumarai, he got to a black belt.
So was the competitive fights then like you saw in Billy Moore's movie?
It usually turned out to be real fights. A guy called Ali Reza Kumalini, an Iranian guy, was Taekwondo. He set up a little thing and got a sponsor from Iran doing his thing. But I encourage my students to, look, I've given you a core thing, find yourself. And like I got punched by nature, and unlike a factory of karate, and you're big, small, fat, thin, male, female, kid, adult, you all do the same thing, which isn't right, really. The one that's with the that tried to get me hit, he was a good coach. He'd find out what you're natural at, then he'd show you how to protect yourself or rig you out of nearly all scenarios to get your best thing in, individualized. So I try to encourage my students to do that, even though I'm giving you a framework to work from here, basics based on freestyle, funny enough. Do your own thing. So some of them went to razors. Razors come to us, so we sort of done that. He was in with a guy called Sempozoki, who was my better mate, really, who was like almost a pro wrestler, 120 kilos outside. They killed a lady boy, robbed a lady boy, Italian IDs. Gosema showed me his case written in English. And Razor's saying, I killed him with I'm quite proud of it, sort of Iranian ego thing. I killed him with a hammer fist and all that. Like, oh, did you? And I read the thing, and his heart had caved, his chest had caved, and it was his heart. It was Gosem with a stamp. I said, it's you that killed him. So that was it. Razor, who ran the other group. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent here. He got released on the royal pardon. I had an Afghani mate, one of my students. He got to a brown belt. Ahmed Ratib, great guy, brilliant. But he got Razor wrote to him, sent him pictures by the beach, in the mountain, on the mountain, all that. He was out about a year, went to Indonesia, and the crystal fasting came about then. It was all over the place. There's a pandemic. We had about 250, 300 Iranians suddenly came in all at once. They all got little dicks. They have. As Hong Konger pointed it out, I didn't notice. You're at the shower trough, still bowling off. He goes, Jonathan, look, their cocks are smaller than ours. I went, what? And they were as well. It's probably because they're all smoking that, isn't it? Right? Like they're all at junior school again.
Shrinkage.
So anyway, loads of them came in. Razor was out for about a year, and he got into this fasting in Indonesia, and they got a shoot on sight to kill policy if they want the police, even if you put your hands up. During that little thing over there, he got shot. Ooh. Yeah, he got shot to death, the other teacher. So yeah, I forgot the original question now.
It was about the camaraderie.
Yeah, great.
Community.
We all got on. I could give a good example of that.
Yeah.
Towers, they put that on every 9/11. They put that on every day, multiple times for 6 months. It was impressive, wasn't it? The Twin Towers coming down to watch. If it was a prop on a movie, it'd be brilliant. But it just happened to be real life. 2003. In the march when they went in against Saddam, right, which should never have really happened, because he was the only one that could control them all. You know, Al Qaeda, everything come about it made it much worse, didn't they?
Yeah.
It was like cancer spreading.
Yeah.
2003, American, British embassies, some of the Europeans, I think, we got trying to get you a foreigner building, so foreigners could stay there, Westerners, maybe in that, for their safety. We said, what? We're getting you a foreigner building. Why? For your safety. We said, we're fine in there. We got the Presbyterians built a church in there, South Korean ones. It was meant to be $1 million baht, but it turned to 2 million because the guards, Buddhists, kept nicking the materials. So they had to build it again to do up their own flats. Anyway, they got it done. So Buddhists, Muslims, everybody shared the church. We all shared the big temple that was in the prison. All the religions shared it. We got on great. It's only if you didn't pay a drug debt or something, the samurais were after you. But failing that, you didn't get in no trouble for nothing. It's not like America, Europe, or England, where everyone's I'm the toughest. And they're usually thick, aren't they? The toughest one. Not always, but they are. They're not a king. You know, they know nothing about geography, history, strategy, you know, electronics or whatever. You know, each have your skill. Okay, you're the tough one. You deal with that bit. This guy's the clever one. He deals with that. He's an accountant. He deals with that. But most in Western prisons, unfortunately, they're not like that, aren't they? Mm-hmm. So, I'm lost again.
You were giving an example of the camaraderie?
Yes, the embassies wanted us to all share a building. We're great in here. We all get on great. It's you lot out there that are squabbling amongst yourselves for your politics and religions. We're fine. And we were fine all through that. There was loads of Muslims. They didn't give us any problems. Both Shiite and Sunni. All mates. No problem. Mm. So, yeah, camaraderie was fine. So there was good banter as well.
What led to you ending up in solitary?
Brian as well. North and South English. I hadn't touched any China White for a while. And even in prison, you're so close to source. Even if it's bashed a bit, it's still 50% even in prison at worst. So it was either Joseph's or something like that's birthday. It was an Israeli in there. And on your birthday, you buy and give stuff out. And Brian, I think he's even stopped for a while. Brian Mounsey, great guy. He's the one that guided me through at the start. Knew Noi well, the samurai. We took in a Brit Den. We had a Brit Den. I forgot the name of the charity. Christian. They paid for it for us. Brought us a Brit Den, which is plywood and chicken wire within the building, the boxed off bit next to the Hong Kong Den. We were next door, sat look at each other through the wire. Anyway, you sniff it out there. If they inject it, they're using the insert of a ballpoint pen with a needle they've usually picked up from the hospital, super glue it on, drops a spoon, strap up the arm, they blow it into each other. Terrible, innit? Loads of AIDS in there. That's 31 die in a month or something. It's pretty bad. And hepatitis. I'd never done that. But did sniff it, that can kill you still. It's strong. So I sniffed it for the first time for ages. Yeah, all right. Not so big though, cut the tail off that. So I had a sniff. Oh, that's nice and warm. You're chatty for half an hour. Doing some now, couldn't I?
No, you're doing great.
No, definitely not. So we done that, Brian as well. Next day, couldn't believe it. Test. Really? And there hadn't been one for ages. So someone had snits, all Thai snits, all of them. So test, Brian and I were the only two caught. He's from Carlisle, I'm from Southampton in it. So we both end up having to go to, that was Louise, the sort of ex-girlfriend international teacher, was visiting me, and it was lucky they delayed it. I didn't go until after that visit. So at least I saw her. She came, and that really good girl, got cigarettes. I still see her now. She's married to 3 kids and that. So they sent us to solitary, right, December the 27th, I think it was. Same day I got sentenced. A few years later, 3 months, 4 kilo chains on. Amnesty International eventually stopped it. 5'7" box, straight up Shaun. Feet, for me, I'm 5'7", 170. Feet flat on the wall, head on the other. Couldn't even get a fag paper in. That's squared with a little squatter toilet section with a water in the trough to wet your ass and shower. 3 months. And they wouldn't let us out. Some, I think it was Iranians, some Muslims had caught a place on fire, made some sort of explosive, a sensory device, and blew something up and caught it on fire. And a day or two later, they paid 2,000 baht, 40, 50 quid backhander, and they were out downstairs watching the telly and everything. So we got 2,000 each. Let us out then. No. Sitting there at least 6 weeks before they left.
What was it like going to the toilet and stuff?
The squatter, you just go up a step, and you just got a squatter toilet, like in France. Yeah, just plant your feet and wash your ass with the water. I got hemorrhoids through it. It's horrible because you haven't got toilet paper, have you?
What about cockroaches and things?
Oh, there's a lot of cockroaches, yeah. Albino ones are them. I found an albino once, and I looked with a magnifying glass at his head, and I thought, that's how they get the idea for alien movies. Like this translucent horse's head. Really. And it's, you see where in the old days, the 50s, 60s, even 70s, they get their ideas from.
Yeah.
And that underwater invisible fish stuff. Yeah, so I was stuck in there 3 months. 6 weeks in, I was like, Brian's next door. I said, Brian, this isn't easy, mate. I said, they're only letting us out when they search the room. Unless we go to hospital or something. The next time I went, I did go to the hospital. I found a way. But Brian said, I'm all right. I've been getting China White off Gassama. I said, what? For 6 weeks you've been sniffing? So he linked me up to Gassama, who was a Nigerian homosexual who used to walk about in French knickers. On your cell, you've got a big like metal letterbox there, like a post box, but it's big enough to put an aluminium plate through with your dinner on. That's how you get your meals. So Gassama comes through. The guards let him out half hour earlier to do his China White rounds. He's obviously paid them off. Purposely let him out the room half hour to do his deliveries, his little drug round. So I got on it's the most I used was in there, and he had really strong stuff. It was right on the 85, 92% one that still keeps it powder. So I do one in the morning. Then I get another one at sort of lunchtime. That because I hadn't done this was only for 6 weeks I'd done it, this one. And then another one for 6 o'clock at night after I've eaten my last bit of food. And I'd done that for 6 weeks. Brian had been doing, he was more hardcore. He'd been doing it the whole 3 months. I was mangled when I got back to the building and suddenly stopped. Proper sick. Showers every 15 minutes. But yeah, Gassama in his French knickers let out to deliver it. That was crazy. Yeah, that was surreal. I couldn't believe that.
Did we talk about Renee's death already?
Renee, no. It was straight after that 3 months. I'd gone through the rattle, so that took a couple of weeks or so. Renee was a Swiss guy, lovely guy, real gentle soul. Exact opposite of anything. Didn't have a violent bone in his body. 45 years old. He looked a little bit better. 43, 44, about my age. Excuse me. Had a daughter about the same age. And he was kind. He'd help people out, so he'd get mugged off a little bit for his kind heart, soft nature sort of thing. Kindness taken for stupidity stuff. And this little electronic Thai guy, there's a lot of, all electronics are illegal. Eventually they made the little Sony Walkmans legal, but not the MP3s, MP4s, the rest of it. They'd raid your building every month, guards from another building, and sell it in theirs. You had to buy it all again, and that's how it went on. Anyway, he used to repair like you would have Iowa or Sony earphones, like we watched the telly with when we all plugged in. Good ones, 500 baht, 12.5 quid, 15 quid. A lot of money in Thailand for a little pair of earphones. So he fixed them and that when the speakers went. He had his own little business. He'd get prison food, but he could modify it and add little bits, buy some veg or some chicken and that. He could support himself, self-sufficient, little guy, quiet. Good little electrician. And the guards would have to go out to like a Radio Shack type place, whatever, of that time in Thailand to buy the spare parts for him. He'd given his little bit of money to a guard to go and get it. And the guard didn't. He spent it. And the brushes out there are different than our brooms, but it had like a little bit squarey metalish handle, different handle on it. He lost the plot, couldn't control himself, swung it at the guard's head, who ducked, and it hit the other guard on the bridge of the nose. Smashes. It's like another one of these smoky mornings, coffee shop things. Similar scenario as Noi. I'm sat on top of the lockers, and I heard this commotion go on, and I just see him running. And he had a guard chasing him, and all Thais are good at kicking. You know, most Westerners can throw a punch, can't they? Most English lads can. Sometimes they know what a punch is. Thais are the opposite. They know with kicks. Most of them naturally aren't very good at punching, not many of them, but they're good at kicking. But this one obviously done some Muay Thai before. He proper lashed his leg, brought him down, and sort of volleyed him in the head as he was landing, and kicked him in the head a couple more times. The other guard laid the boots in battens, mangled him a bit, dragged him outside the chief's office, who had his little go. Now, the guy's already proper. Kojak, he's moved from Bombat, the bold Gestapo bastard, right? He's moved into Bang Kwang now, and a young guard that worked part-time with that, who was later to become a chief, a strong one. They come in to make an example of him. He's already done proper. But you know, the big bamboo, big, about 1 metre long, so about the size of a pickaxe handle, with loads and loads of those jam jar Iraqi bands down the end. So you've got a big ball of Iraqi bands. That stops the external injury. Maybe a little bit red, but it stops what you see, the bruise in and all the rest of it. A guy, until he was knackered, double-handed, like chopping logs on his back. He'd had to stop and wipe the sweat off. He'd done 3 or 4 goes of that with the rubber bands. That's damaging internal organs. Yeah, because the energy carries on. Yeah, like when you suddenly punch and you bam, and the leaf blows. That kinetic energy that carries on. So that carries on. He come back proper mongy, brain damage. But like Daniel's place was in Congress, where they do all the stenciling stuff. They've done some of this in Bang Kwang as well. They get 1,500 baht, 36, 40 quid a month. Best job in there. Shell factory, because they grind down like, you know, shells like oysters and that, got all the colours in. They'd have these sticks, like, you know, when they got all the gold on them and that, and all the braids and things and their best uniforms. They walk around with like a leader of the band, the musicians, like they toss the thing, but a shorter one, with dragon's heads on. That's what they do. So you got this brass sort of dragon's head on the thing, and he's just pecking him on bones. Peck, peck, peck. So there's little niggle pains. So he can't pass out from the big one. That carried on for a good 20, 25 minutes on. And Rene is watching all this. Rene likes to smoke a little bit of resin here and there, if you could get it, which was rare in Bang Kwang, more common in Lajau from the Pakistanis. But anyway, he liked to smoke that. And he was waiting for some meds as well, which they held up at the hospital from the embassy, a little bit of a weak heart. He witnessed that, and being a kind soul and less hardened to the world, he actually had a heart attack and died within a day or so of that. Rene did, yeah, died because of the shock, truly.
Oh my God.
It was sad, yeah. The little guy, he got dragged off on the trolley after all that, beaten at the gatehouse again, taken to building 10 solitary, where I was with Brian the first time. I went there again later, and he was beat again there. He come back deformed, dragging his leg and all that lot, dribbling. Still done his electronics. I think he was with it, but they probably damaged part of his brain that the motor functions worked at. It wasn't like he was remedial. It was just the part that controlled speaking, muscle control. They damaged that. So I think if that wasn't damaged, he could speak properly. His brain was still with it enough because he could still do his electronics, but the motor function was damaged. That was a horrible one. Yeah, Rene died on that. It was the guards that done most of the beatings. Another one in Bang Kwang. Somebody said something to the chief or done something, And the chief, they've always got their main boys tattooed up, not usually, could sort of, not mainline samurai, because the samurai wouldn't do that, but they talk to the samurai type guy, and they're the ones that snitch. You know, you've got ones that do massages to guards in deck chairs, telling them everything going on in the building. He's doing that, he's doing that. Those sort of creeps, you've got those. And then you've got the other ones that's a bit stronger, like 60 odd kilos is a big Thai, but they've done Muay Thai before, they're dangerous. So a fenced off green area, this bold chief, I didn't like him. He knew I didn't like him, but he have him, his sidekick, kick out of him on the lawn. And then afterwards, when the guy's done, he would go in with his big stick and start beating him with that and kicking him as well. Everyone watching like an audience at the fence. Horrible. Oh. So, yeah, you had that sort of stuff. But, yeah, Rene's that was a bad one when they done the little electrician. Horrible. Just they make an example. Because when you got up in Bang Kwang in the morning, like the noise situation, you might have just one guard on duty, 750 guys in the building, one guard in a deck chair. And it's not like here. So they got to make an example or they get overwhelmed all the time. So that's what that was about.
Why did you end up in Building 4?
To this day, I don't know. Just called my name one day, Jonathan Wheeler, and go. I don't know if the embassy were involved in that little bit of mischief. Good chance. I used to refuse, because I refused the repatriation treaty, and I think they used to try and nudge me a bit to make me sign it because it didn't look good diplomatically. That's the only thing I thought of, maybe, but that's not fact. That's supposition, which is something and nothing. Suddenly get your stuff, go. Building 4 was an all right building. Poor building, still the same sort of size, 300 metre by 60 or yards. Lot quieter, just about 400 or 500 guys in the building, and half of them worked at the pig farm. Building 13. So in the morning, they're all off to work. Only Thais, no Burmese, nothing. And yes, they admitted they used to fuck the pigs. Some of the Thais, yes, they did. Yeah, you couldn't imagine that. They weren't allowed to have a humane gun in case they could use that against the guards. So they used to have like a bit of 4B2 to kill the pigs with. They worked in there, and now again, a bit of cheap pork and that, probably. There's only Thais that work there. That was at first, for the first couple or so years, it changed. So half the building was gone. So there's only a couple 250 of you left in the building. Actual building force. So you had loads of space. Good to do projects or that, or your martial arts and that. I still carried on that, martial arts. Wasn't with Afang, my Qigong teacher, and all the rest of it, so I had to up a bit. But, when I should be in yang points or yin ones, I'm putting it in the wrong one, so I'm getting anti-chi and I get negative and all that. But I sussed it in the end, started getting it right. So I'm doing all that. A good scene. Food groups. It's prison food's horrible, it really is. Stones and the rice and all that. So you get a food group. Some guy that hadn't got no money, that's a good cook. Mine happened to be, I had a hill tribe guy at first, and there's 3 or 4 of you. I was with Chow Yu Ming, a goofy but funny, very strong, good fighter. He does some kung fu. He was singing triad, which was rare. It's mostly 14K triads who aren't here. We got Wo Shin Wo and things like that. There was a couple of them there. But anyway, I had Chow Yu Ming, myself, Sao Gang. He used to be in a traditional dance troupe. He was a Chinese guy that looked exactly like Elvis Presley. He honestly did, but different eyes. Yeah, and he used to be a traditional Mongolian horseman dancing, all that. He'd been to America as a communist Chinese back in the day, and he'd been to Germany performing. So he was our cook. He's a good cook as well. He'd eat free because he cooked it. Chow Yu Ming would get either the meat, whatever, which was usually pork, chicken, fish sometimes, but I didn't do the fish. I catched it. But he'd done that, and I would get all the veg and sauces and stuff. It worked, and eggs and things. We had cats. Zhao Gang had Nan Juan, who used to give raw bits of off-cut chicken and meat. He was great at hunting, wait all day to get a rat. He even caught those fast little dove birds. I had from another litter his younger brother, who got squashed by the wheel of a trolley, and a Burmese guy I've caught up with now nursed him better. I took him on, looked after him, and called him bastard, because he was a bastard, right? But he answered to the name. I had inheritance money at the time then, like 12.5 grand from my nan. So that lasted about 4 years. So we're only in year 1 and 2 now with it. So I used to give him tins of mackerel, spoilt and rotten. He was so spoiled, he only used to drink the sauce in the end. And I'd get him off this fish guy, these freshwater fish that looks a bit like perch. I'd get him them as well. Thais hated me because they couldn't afford it to eat and they wanted it, and I'm giving it cats. Anyway, when Bastard was about, the guards with their dragon head sticks and that and all the gold stuff, they walked by and go, Bastard, Bastard, Bastard.
We're going to have to say, can we just call him B for
Sorry,
purposes of YouTube?
sorry, I say B.
Yeah, say B.
And the rest of it. And they knew what I was doing, but my cat would come in it. So I give him some fish for that. And it was a bit of banter for the Thais and the foreigners. And they all loved it because they couldn't get away with it. Being a Westerner, I used to joke about the embassy hated me a little bit, but I pretended that they big power and you get in trouble if you touch a foreigner and that. And half of them believed it. They didn't chance it, but it was only waffle. They wouldn't have cared what happened.
Who were the high society killers?
Oh, academics, proper ones. There was one guy, Shaun. I saw a photo of him recently. I got it on my phone. He's seeing Toshi and Yuki and my Japanese friends who I just got in touch with again. That was imprisonment. Now, his name was Shaun. His dad was maybe a physician, or say, I don't mean doctor, one that done physics and stuff. Proper education, everything like that. And he was doing something along with physics or something like one of the sciences. Proper, beyond university, very smart. His wife annoyed him. He killed her with his dad's 38 special. Chopped her up, got rid of her, but he kept her kept them in the fridge.
What?
That's what the police found. These blancmanges in the fridge. He found them. The police found them. That's what he got done for, right? You got a fetish or something, sir. He seemed an all right bloke, but as well, that's what's mad about it. Very photogenic, big plastic frame glasses and that. He became that. Where the guards nicked after materials for the church, he became the bloody church leader. Sao Gang, the cook, was number 3. Yeah. So he'd done that to his wife. Got out in 11 years, by the way, after amnesties and that, because they're getting the third cuts all the time. And he's done the church leader thing. I said, repented for his sins, got forgiven. I don't know. That was him. Dr. Ham. He used to work at the Department of Corrections as something to do with them within the system as a trainee brain surgeon. And he didn't get very far in it. He chopped his wife up. But he got to the level of where you take a bit of the skull plate, when you got hemorrhaging, bleeding on the brain, they take the bit of the skull plate out, and he was doing the hoovering. Do you know that, like the dentists, when they keep the saliva sucked out your mouth, they use one very similar to that and suck the blood off your brain? Back then, anyway. I expect they still do, don't they? So he's doing that with the blood. And the cauterizing, I had it with a hernia operation under local anesthetic before it stinks. They got like artery forceps with rubber handles on, plugged in. So burning all the vessels. So he was doing that after. That was his job. That's your basics. You know what I mean? That's like a T-boy for a carpenter. So that's what level they do on brain surgery in Thailand, at least. He was that guy. Wow. He mastered the blues over 5 years or so in prison. Good guitarist. And he was at the hospital doing your first aid stuff. I punched a pad on a post too hard once, wrong knuckle, I knocked this one right back. And he made a little half plaster thing, over-exaggerated it really. He was a guy that done all that sort of stuff, or try and fix a stab wound. And if he couldn't, you're sent to the police hospital outside. And that was Ham. The other one that Brian nicknamed Hannibal Hector, supposed to be on death row because he got a death sentence, right? Meant to have death row, got 10 kilo chains on, they're welded on the rings, yeah? And you got much less space. And they could just call your number any day that you getting executed by Shavulet, who was the little executioner. He's a foreign correspondent. He spoke good English, so he had quite good. He's the one that checked your letters. He's like the Grim Reaper walking about. Oh, I don't want to see you. What are you doing here? Yeah, he used to shoot you, gun in the vice. You're on the crucifix thing. You're back, tied on frontwards like 2 railway sleepers. And then they put a chain of 5 bullets for your heart and lungs. Yeah, that's what his job was. He wrote a book called The Last Executioner. Anyway, Dr. Ham should have been Hannibal, not Dr. Ham, Hannibal should have been on there, on death row, but he wasn't. He had an aircon office and library in the little hospital section of his ex-Japanese prison, or war camp prison, right? I think Klong Prem, where David was his same. So he's in there. He was the royal family's gynecologist. That's what he done. Wow. He got out, I don't know about Dr. Ham, but Shaun, He got out in 11. Dr. Ham, reading Bangkok Posts in future time, he got out in 13. He just asked for a reduction, like a half pardon. He got it. Big amnesties, and then he got the pardon. He was out in 13. Looking at princesses and maybe queens and stuff.
So you end up in solitary again?
Yes, 2005. Matthew, Canadian, I think, is from Macau. Eloquent. He spoke nearly as good English as David. Seriously. I don't know how he had proper school, grammar school, perhaps rich parents. He's already sort of 60ish now. A bit of a negative, cruel man. Probably 14K trial. I can't quite remember.
Triad.
Yeah, there's loads of it in there. 14K must have got dragon tattoos on their legs and shit. And they go into Muay Thai because all the kung fu movies and that I saw, there's lots of triads that done kung fu and that in the prison and different martial arts, and Thai boxing kicks out all of it. In there, the samurais and that, whatever, I don't care what you've done or how good you are. Champion, what? They just beat them up nearly all the time. So a lot of the triads, they went to Muay Thai and combined with their kung fu stuff, similar to what I'd done with karate. He was a cruel guy that would say, the fear in his eyes, the coward that made trouble, he got stabbed to death and I saw it. It was great to see his eyes bulging and all that. Even whoever it was, one of the people I was saying, that's pretty bad, Matthew. Nigerian then dealt with the China White. They dealt with that. And now again, you get a couple of freelancers. Afriguala, great guy. Crazy, wild head Nigerian, wasn't allowed in the den because he used to use his South sometimes that he may have nicked off him or something. So when he got a chance, he done his own little bit of freelancing, as did this Pakistani guy. Pakistani guy and Afriguala become opposition for their little freelancing business. Matthew got involved and give a sharpened dessert spoon. It's great in the heel of your hand, a dessert spoon, and sharpened to a very sharp point. It's pretty long as well. He provided that to Afriguala to hit the Pakistani when he was on the squatter toilet. He was almost selling tickets for the show, telling people when it would be and all the rest of it and taking money for that, and proud of organising all that horrific stuff. Afri's as clumsy as he's very clumsy. So the guy's having the poo. He's attacked him. He's hitting him in the arms, legs, not getting it right, trying to punch him. The guy's wriggling, tangled up in his trousers around his ankles, falling out the toilet, down the steps, on this nonsense. I didn't see it. He did buy a ticket. You know what I mean? And so he done stuff like that. One day we were arguing over the Thai prince or something silly because he's a bit of a gangster. He's a king now, so he's probably not. But he was sort of then a bit of a mischief boy, ladies man and that. Something about him. Plus with these other factors, I thought, no, you know what I mean? He's annoying. So I went in the barber shop. You know barber scissors, the long points. Guards asleep in the chair as usual, or nearly asleep. So I've gone in the mirror. They stick out about there, through there, like that. So I've done a couple of practice shots on that, put them back, waited for him to walk by, ran the corner, bang! So I've just nicked him, and all the rest of him, let him see the flash. But I didn't think I'd get so much trouble. His eyes are really big like that. And even my Japanese mate, Yuki and Toshi and all the rest of it, Jonathan, you know, no one comes in with it except for the Japs. No one would come in within 10 feet of me, sort of thing. Oh no, what have I done now? And I'm claustrophobic. I truly am. I have been diagnosed with it, but I am claustrophobic. But not solitary again. And it was. No one come near me, but they left me a few hours. And a guard actually politely approached me and said, Jonathan, you got to go to building 10 again. And that was that one. No shackles this time. Amnesty International would intervene somehow for foreigners. The Thais had them on. But I didn't have to wear them, being a Westerner. So that was the only time I had to escape from there to get out. I'd done my Qigong, which is boost your blood pressure and all the rest of it, cover myself in toothpaste. So I got the chlorine and it worked. Loads of water, kept wet, toothpaste all over. That I got loads of them, like water blisters. Like blisters that just saying covered in them. I'm, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? So they took me to the hospital because they're bewildered and being scared of our embassies and that. Not that the embassy without me, they'd happily watch me get kicking. You know what I mean? But they took me to the hospital, so I escaped. But your money from your coffee shop account takes too long to follow you. So I had to eat prison food and all the rest of it. And but I had a comfy bed, a proper bed, best behaviour, so I didn't have my leg chained to it. That's a bit annoying if you have that. So I was there. I got out for quite a few days. So I had a little reprieve. I tried it again and it didn't work. So I managed to get away. And apart from hospital visits, that's the only time they let me out. Once a week, they let me on the landing for an hour. And I got my Qigong all wrong. So I was building up. If you do press ups as well and that, you build up all the energy. You've got no way to dissipate it, have you? So they let me out for that hour. I march up and down. It's worse. I pent up all this anger. The finale of that was, I've been there 4.5 months, as had been, this is full up in there, 3 other Thais that had stabbed up a blue shirt trustee. Everyone, 3:30 when you're all in the room, so about 3:45, 3:50, he's in his little hut, because they got a bit more privilege being a trustee, a Thai, and 3 of them attacked him, assassinated him, 3 samurais, right?
Of what?
And they were in there, and that was like the year before. They'd been in there over a year. So I've been in there 4.5 months this second time already. I thought, no, I just scissors. I might be here over a year.
Do you know why they assassinated him?
No, I don't. It was a hit, a paid hit. Maybe he'd ripped somebody off. Maybe it was drug money, done a deal, hadn't paid it, something like that, because they use trustees a lot to transport stuff from building to building. I remember Noi with a little gambling debt, the cleaver twice in the head. It wouldn't have needed to be pretty much like 10,000 baht, 200 quid would be a lot of money in there. So they do it for that. You know what I mean? Something at that level. Pon Tip, who was, they like to big everybody up in Thailand, make them celebrities. She looks a bit like a punk rocker. She was the main forensic policewoman in the whole of Thailand. I saw her at the visit room because I went out for a visit and I see her walk past and she was on the case. There's nothing to work out. He was hit. There's nobody about. They're the last ones up. Those 3 killed him. What's there to work out? Guilty. But she appears on the scene for the news and everything. You know what I mean? So they were in there forever. I got out of that. We're at the water, you wash your ass with and everything. On a Saturday, I already destroyed the cell. They moved me to another. You can't destroy much because it's solid. I smashed what I could and everything. They moved me to another one, ripped the mosquito wire off the front and everything. And it was a Saturday morning. A guard in his best uniform, like Sunday best, but on a Saturday with all the bright yellowy gold stuff again and that. And I got the toilet water, what you asked for that, whole bowl full, and waited for him. And I got him, nearly all of it, hardly a drop missed. So I got splattered him. I thought, I'm in trouble now. Thais would have got beat to death for that. He stayed really calm. Come and got the keys, escorted me to the hospital, to the crazy section. Because in his head, it's just last thing in the world they think of happening. Even Thais wouldn't do it. So that was the last thing. He must be mad. That's the only explanation. Phalang Bar. Yeah, crazy Phalang, foreigner. So they took me, I had a condominium room. Brilliant. 3 times the size of the room, massive room. I could do karate katas in it. It was really big. All it was, I got let out half hour later. Instead of 6:30, I got let out at 7. I put in at 3 instead of 3:30. And they had gardens. The trustees had bicycles. I used to nick them and ride about on them, on a bicycle, do what I wanted. I was there for 4 months. See a snake. Bats used to fly down the outside corridor. Dusk in Thailand isn't like here. It's only about 15 minutes. So for that 15 minutes, it's brilliant when they came, the bats. And they just suddenly stop on a fluorescent tube, you know what I mean? They just hack. And they're there. That was good. So yeah, the hospital was all right. And there's Jonathan, you've sort of been there long enough now. You got to go. Where do you want to go? Back to building 4. So where Matthew was, the very person I meant to get punished for, they put me back in the same building as him. But everything was all right. It was all humble again. And it never got brought up, you know. That never got a report or no extra set. Nothing got said about that.
Lucky. What about the war between the Africans and the locals?
The crystal fast thingy came about just after Yaba. To give time slots on it, through the Blair era, what's called the Yaba, all things are Ya. Medicines are Ya. Even tobacco is Ya Sen, because it's stringy leaf material. Sen is like noodles, rope, string, fishing line. So stringy tobacco is a medicine of sorts, they call it. Ya Sen, like a negative medicine. So Ya Ba means crazy. Babo, Kunbabo, you're mad. Ba is crazy. So Ya, crazy medicine, was that pandemic. The Thais were showing it at primetime TV. Kids could watch it and everything. Some Thai holding another one, cutting his throat. Another one jumping out a window of a high building. That, yeah, bah, no good, ID. And they were buying it at a source. The Wa Deng again, these economy where they make the China white, they were manufacturing it. So much money in it. Northern Thailand, they could buy one for 20 baht, 50 pence. Come down to Bangkok, sell it for 500. So what's the profit on that? Like 2,500, 5,000% profit, whatever it is. A lot of profit in it. 25 times as much. So that's why people took the risk. So there's a load of that about, even in the prison, that's the only one you had to pay for in advance to get one. I had a North Korean one that Yuki, my mate, got in. It was obviously the crazy Jap. He got one in, looked like other medicine in the pack, and his girlfriend sent it. And it was North Korean variant white ones. I had one of them. And that's the day before I done that to Matthew, funny enough. That didn't help, did it? So that came in. Blair era. After Blair and the Tories got back in, whatever year that was, is when the crystally one come in. Far more conservative, more smoother. That's the one that's got the in it as well, to me. So that came about. A thing called alumstone. I forget what they called it. Som Sam or something. It comes in a rock form, very soft on the mineral scale. Thai women use it on their face and that. It makes them appear like they're smaller because all the pores of the skin close up and that. Really. But you use it under your armpits in the pores of your skin after showers. It's a thing in Thailand. But if you crush that up to powder, alum powder, I've done it on a piss test. You put it in the crook of your hand there and you wee on it into the vial. You've got trustees watching you, but they don't think, make it look like you just pissed on your thumb. You can't use too much because it's got sediment. They see the sediment, but it neutralizes it. And I've got away with that. I think I got it off Tossi, the mad Jap. Give me some of that. Yeah, because they eat it even though it's bad for you. And a while before, but I had no time how to use it there and then. And I ended up screaming at the guards. I get the embassy and that because he wanted a bit more. I said, you're only picking on me because I'm a foreigner. And I got away with it. I got let off. Like out of 750 guys, 200 to 300 would fail a wee test. That's how big it was in prison. So the Africans started to sell that as well as the China white. But this is a big Thai thing. Even guards got arrested for it, for dealing it. There was a Syrian guy that had like a Tesco's phone. Totally illegal telephones. In the hospital, except for the general that looked like Danny DeVito that had one, right? Yeah, he was on every news channel when it come on him. But this Syrian guy walking around the whole building with a phone. I says, Mohammed, he used to help me out when I was skint in the last year. I said, Mohammed, how'd you manage to do that? He was doing it by the key. Outside, motorcycle hitmen. That's how they do a hit. There's a few of them in prison, but far more that haven't been caught than do get caught. They got 150 bikes. And they assassinate you, they shoot you for not drug things. Then you take over their list of phone numbers, all that sort of stuff. So that's a Thai thing. Nigerians had trod on their toes with that. So they all went, the Thais, the Africans didn't have a chance. They all went there with their things and everything. And no, we don't want to know. The Africans, even though they're big, they got little hearts, most of them. Not all, but most. And, surrendered to it. Just carried on with the China white factory. That I turned out to be the watchman for a little while at one point. But yeah, they stopped doing it. That's what that was all about.
Wow.
Yeah. So the Thais took over that market. There's a lot of money in it. They'd have there's a British guy helped them. Like the written language in Thai was helped very early 1900s before the First World War. They didn't have a written language. So they mixed Sanskrit and Khmer. A naval officer, British one, helped them create that language. And also this weird talcum powder with not beautiful smelling one, a practical one with a cobra picture with an arrow through its head called Prickly Heat. They used to get that. So the Thais put that all over after a shower. Makes you feel cool, but it stings like burns a bit. So the people, the big dealers, like the Bikayai, the big legs of the building, sat in a nice deck chair, PlayStation 2 or 3 at the time it was, come out. They paid double the price for it, for a guard to bring it in, so he'd keep half and they'd get what they wanted. But because they were smoking so much maize, they go crazy. After 3 or 4 months intense doing at least 2 grams a day and that, they got mad, their brains are blown. So they have to go to the nut house or whatever, somebody else in the deck chair now. But they're using this talcum powder with water, like war paint stripes, with a certain theme of clothes they wore. Looked like ghosts sort of thing, ghost Apaches. Yeah, they're all running the show. They love the chair for 3 or 4 months. Gone, another one. And they're the ones that are running the show inside the prison, but it's inside out connecting, like the Syrian guy was, connected outside.
What about Toshi?
He's the one that got me the thing for the retest and that. He was off it a little bit. He used to make a lot of money in Japan in the real estate boom. 10,000 US a day, late 80s. Even the old guys used to bow to him and everything. A lot of money. But then he got into the normal white, as we know as white. Big habits on that, going to Hawaii and all that stuff. He was in LA, in big gangs out there after a while, after all the real estate boom went. He was involved in all that lot. And he used to be the cook when they went round by boat wherever they went in order to get into Colombia. And then from however they got it there to the boat, he played the role as a cook, because all gringos like us, the Colombians would think we're DEA, so they could just kill us anyway. So that was his job. But in that LA gang thing, that big thing, doing that, it's who had the most assault rifles. It goes to that level, it goes crazy over there, don't they? Yeah. They met AR-15s, whatever they have. So a bigger group put them out of business. Then he went to the China white, got a habit and all that, started coming to Thailand, and he went over there and that. And he wasn't quite polite as other Japanese. He was a bit more brutal than that. But I'm back in touch with him now. And he's cool. He looked after his mum in the end. He eventually got home after God knows how many years. And he's back. He managed on that real estate thing to keep 1 2-bedroom flat and housed his mother. He finally married a Thai girl, funny enough. He's calmed right down.
So why did you start stashing phones for the Africans?
Inheritance ran out with my mate, the Japanese mate again. At school, he used to sit next to, like they have like soldier ranks in the police, like colonels and things. He sat next to him at school, and he's like a colonel in the police rank, but with police, not army. And he's an alcoholic. And he only sort of he drinks a bit in the morning, and then when he finishes his shift. We had him on my fishing line idea, because I'm into all my cheese and stuff like that. Not cheese, but my cheese stuff and my qigong and that. I said, Toshi, I've got this fishing line idea. I said, you manufacture Daiwa fishing tackle and all that on one of your islands off Kyushu, wherever it is, Kyoto, I can't remember now. You've got a big Daiwa factory and all the rest of it, and you can link this up really good. And patents, I found out, are quite cheap. Instead of thousands of that, you could do a patent for $300, $400, $500. So he had this police guy outside checking up the patent office. And I was fishing in England's the biggest participant sport. Football following, but participant fishing. Beach casting, anything to do with casting. I said, the mechanics of a reel are too expensive for them to make it know how far you cast or how deep you've gone. I said, this simple method of work. Between your bum and balls, you've got red chakra. Here, you've got orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. I said, right, whatever, neutral coloured line, let's say it's white. If you put one red stripe, base tracker, that's 10 meters or yards, whatever you're working with. 2 for 20, up to 50, so you've got 5. Go to the next colour, 1 again. So you've got a 1 with a 5. If you're looking at an orange, nearby, we reel in, you nearest one you see is that, you know you're 60, don't you? It's easy maths, isn't it? So you go through that, so you've got 5 colours, you've got 300. No one casts further than that or goes deeper than that. That was the plan. To get those marks put on fishing line, I got the idea from Action Men. Remember them? Pull their throat out to whatever black line. We will destroy you, whatever, right? So I got the idea from that, and meditating and that, I thought, chakras, rainbows, use the colours as markers, cheap way out. So we followed this up for months on end. Illegal phones at the Nigerian den and all the rest of it. I'll get to the phone carrier. So we done that. It took about a year. That killed the last of my inheritance. I thought I got 12.5 grand, right? And I'd be going a couple of years and that, doing quite well. And the embassy said, oh, you've still got 6 grand left. I thought, I didn't realise. I thought I spent more than that. I've only spent half of it. I started going crazy, innit? Fishing line idea. And Toshi loved the China white. So I'm getting loads of that. I had to keep his brain working to do it. So I blew it all on the gear, really, most of it, in a year. So I was skint for the last year. And I knew I'd get these last 2 amnesties, sort of almost certain, definitive. So I had to do illegal things because the fishing line idea didn't work. A guy called Suzuki had the same idea, exactly the same as mine. There was a few nearish, but the same colour scheme, everything based on chakras. But that's not the end of the story. You can still do a deal with him, buy him out, give him his percentage, and you carry it on, which we did. But you had to, where it messed up is, as opposed to other line manufacturers, the drying time of the dye and being so many different ones, and the machines you need to just put a little bit of spray on to touch those other colours was too time consuming, which put too much price on it and priced it out of the market to be compatible with other quality lines. That's why that went wrong. I had that idea early 2000s before Suzuki patented it, but I had to wait till I found a way. And then it was, and even though it did, because like I say, still brought him up. Anyway, so I'm on the bones of my ass. It was that time when there was massive floods. They had 6 foot of sandbags outside holding out water. Most prisoners with a lot of time left, I'd had a few amnesties by now, were shipped out to other prisons all over the place, coach loads of them. I was left there because I was one of the shorter sentences left. Noi out me out, the samurai, giving me some clobber and that, because I had no money. Thais and Nigerians were the main people that helped me, to be honest. Watchman for the China White factory, a guard used to bring in 100-gram packages and that. But you had to be careful because another one would walk behind him sometimes, not long after. So I was a watchman. I've just had my eye surgery done now. My eye, that was pre-cataract, so I was pretty good at looking. And they'd sort me out with either 500, 10 quid, or sort me out with a little line that was left over from the bags. They used Bible things with little straws of plastic bags. They burn with the wire, heated from a candle, and make little straws and bag them up, 500s and thousands, after the war and the Thais on the meth. So I was watchman for them. That turned into carrying a telephone upstairs so they could organise the ones to give the 100 to the guard to bring it in and all that, I guess. I was carrying that telephone. What I used to do was use a bit of Velcro so I would put it up my T-shirt sleeve. But they had those garrote metal detectors sometimes, so I'd be really careful. The longest I'd done was 11 days in a row. Then I'd jump off the ride for a while. The Belgian ambassador's son used to be the Belgian ambassador prior to whoever the Belgian ambassador was now. His son was in there, married, but he was more like a Thai. He was brought up with Thais and everything. He used to do that every day. Crazy guy.
So how old are you by the time of your last year?
50, edge of 51.
And you went in at what?
33.
So how much had you changed by then?
Quite a lot. I went through the long hair thing twice. I went through that phase. I couldn't grow a beard. A couple of Brits grew the long beards doing the caveman thing. Oh, I've been in prison forever. Like the ones chained to the wall. They went through that theme. I'd done the long-haired one, but because I used to hold me cat, I held him. I got fleas off him in my hair once. So my mate Shaolin, this Chinese guy, used to call him Shaolin. I forgot his bloody name now. Lin Wei. He told me, he goes, Johnny, what's that in your hair? I had bloody fleas off the cat. So yeah, I had to shave it all off.
Had the internet bypassed you?
Huh?
The internet, had you missed the internet?
Yeah, I missed everything. When I got out into Simi Street, I couldn't use a phone, even a Tesco's one.
Hold on a sec. What was the day of your release like?
August the 16th, I got told. I think it was August. That's the same day I met Louise, funny enough. August, years before, 99. It was about August the 16th. The king, it was when they had the coup. They kicked out the Man City boss, right? Thaksin Shinawatra. And they had a coup. A naval officer played prime minister. I loved it. Because when the coup was on, it was more relaxed in the prison. There's less political corruption and shit going on. And it was much better. I got 2 amnesties during that coup. I had one on the King's birthday, and I had another one on the Queen's, which I knew would come, which even though it was only a 9th or an 11th, it was enough to get me out. So I knew that was coming. I was kept there. 54 of us got out of Bang Kwang that day.
Have you got to be put on a plane and deported, or you just get out?
IDC, Department of Immigration. You're taken to Thai immigration. Police station first, which is in the area called Notorious, same as Bang Kwang. Local police station. Thrown in a cave there. Corruption begins again. So we get your paperwork in time to get you to immigration in Bangkok. We could do it today if you want, if you give us 40 quid a head, or it takes till tomorrow and you got to stay in the cave at night. So the Singaporeans that run the coffee shop, I like Big Tony. He was a good guy. He paid my 40 quid for me.
Oh.
Yeah. But he's the one that warned me after I had a nasty fight in there one time, and I broke the guy's back, but not in the sense of breaking it in half.
Hold on a sec. What was the backstory for the fight?
A little boxer, Tyson put bets on. He thought he could beat me and all the rest of it. I didn't know this. He was from, it was Ayutthaya, which I forget where he's from, mid-north. And he was the champion boxer, Thailand level, just normal boxing, WBC, at that time. He used to train with dumbbells, hitting, skipping, and do some stuff for his legs. He sniped me and come at me.
Spiked you?
Sniped.
Oh, sniped.
Like a sniper, yeah. I didn't realise I was gambling. Big Tony helped me out and told me what had happened. Yeah. Later, I didn't know, because usually guards come quicker than that, and they didn't. He just attacked me, full punch in the throat, sucker punched me, right? Just the size of the Adam's apple, probably would have killed me otherwise. And one at the back of the temple, proper aim. This is a coordinated ex-pro boxer, you know what I mean? WBC, national level, top 5, you know what I mean? He's hit me in the head there. Third one, I'd be practicing this dynamo effect, I call it. You do circular arm things, so you grab wrist when you're on it and stuff like that. Luckily, I've been working on that every morning, sick or not. I do that for 10 minutes amongst me other things. So third punch, he was southpaw, saw the anger, managed to stop it, bounced off, grabbed him, ran his head into the wall, and then pushed right down, done his back. Samurais wasn't let him train anymore. He wasn't a samurai, but the samurais made him wear an apron and be their cook. And even if I wanted to eat, he had to feed me as well. That's what they done to him, because they probably lost money on him. I didn't even know a bet was going on. Yeah, that's the worst one I had. That was really spiteful.
So you're about to get released,
yes.
And you referenced that situation.
Yeah, getting released. 54 of us went that day. Kept an extra week for them to do the paperwork. Minibus thing takes you, with all the caging on the windows and that, takes you to the police station. You process there. A lot of the ties are just getting recycled to go straight back through Bombat again to the prison system, just go in a full circle. Never leave iron bars and chains, you know what I mean? Some of them were like that. But Singapore, Tony, they brought us lovely fried rice food and everything and all that lot. We were there a few hours. Then they took us to the IDC, it's called, in Bangkok. It was great. A lot of barren hotels and that, a lot of building projects you could see it up. They built a load of stuff and they hadn't had the volume of tourists to spread out to it. So I saw a lot of that on the way, but it was lovely to feel the sun and all the rest of it. And then we're thrown in a dungeon in the IDC, room 7. Burmese are given the power. The ones that can't return there because they got a pass in or can't really go back to Burma become the trustees with batons. They're brutal. Somebody in the room, an African or whoever it was, have a telephone. They, not as bad as the little electronic fella, but serious beatings. And they sort of enjoy doing it. And that's what said, they ran the place. So you're suddenly thrown in the deep end of that. 90 odd people in a room, long, narrow room, and you're all laid like this. I happen to be laid next to a Vietnamese guy that was my mate in Bang Kwang. I forget his name now. I can't remember his name. I don't want to pretend. I can't remember it. So we're laid like that. Are you all right, Johnny? Yeah, I'm all right. And all that. So what's this all about? And the room chief was a Singaporean. He'd done 5.5 or 6.5 years. And he'd been in that room that long as well. Because in Singapore, you got similar to what the Birch used to be here. A serious cane that proper cuts your ass up proper and leaves scars. So if they got a pass in, they don't want to go back for that, do they? You know what I mean? They're thinking, no. So they stay in limbo, the Twilight Zone, in IDC forever. He was the room chief. But I'd been even longer. I was a celebrity because I'd been the longest, in it, 18 years. You got people that have been on a 1-day or a 3-day overstay in there and all this type of stuff. I was there 23 days. I had a little bit of money and I managed to pay 100 or 200 baht, which I think 5 quid. And the room chief boots them all along, gets them even tighter. So then I could sleep like you're in a coffin. I had a bit of space. Yeah. I had a little bit of a situation there. Fan Peters, I found out his name was. He's done a few weeks in Laos. He'd been stuck in there 8.5 months. A little Saddam Hussein Iraqi lookalike, looked just like him, probably a clone. He'd been there 8.5 years, Shaun, in that room. A little chap, a cat weasel, he'd been in there forever. And the Brits would leave you there for 6 months. And the Dutch that they're brilliant. Not for the IDC, but if you do the 4-year or 8-year thing on repatriation treaty, bit of paper at the police station, off you go. Parole or whatever, I don't really matter about parole, but yeah, let them out. But in IDC, you got to find your own way out. They're bad with that. The Brits make you wait 6 months before they buy your plane ticket, and it's obviously not the cheapest. It's the one that they say. So I'm stuck there thinking, how the F am I going to wriggle out of this one? To get out, my parents, my family, how I could investigate, didn't believe I was released because nothing's announced. The embassy didn't give them a lot. And I remembered Louise. 10 years I haven't been in touch with her, the international school teacher. One email within a few days, less than a week, whatever, because the embassy girls come, and I spoke to them, can you email her for me, please? Remember the email. Within days, she sent the flight money and a bit of spending money as well. 800 quid, single ticket. She sent it, done, and some extra money as well. So I got through that. I had one incident in there. There was a Syrian, bit plumpish, bulbous, been there a while, a few months, Syrian beggar. But he was relentless. He was worse than the nitty. He was terrible. And he kept on and on. Fam, who I've been in touch with, he got 3 Alsatians now, the Dutch guy, he was in there 18 or so months of that. Him and had an argument with him. And they started a squabble, that pushy, silly stuff. Now, when you're in this IDC room, you slept whenever you could get it, day or night. When you slept, you slept. It didn't matter what time it was, because they only let you out once a week into this other cave, with a little coffee shop area, which was really old-fashioned. So I've got this, I'm there. I managed to lay like I'm in my coffin and that. This kerfuffle starts. I'm, oh, what's that? This blinking great Syrian guys trod on me and all that. Like, sort it out here and all that. He's roughing about me. Get off the bam! I kicked him, cut him across the stomach and that. The whole room went quiet. It sounded more because I didn't really lash him with a shin. I got him with the bridge of the foot. So it slapped on his stomach really loud and echoed down this room. And everyone's like, I said, well, finish him now then. I just wanted to get back to sleep. That's the only situation I had in there. Yeah. So that was that with the Syrian. Louise's money came. I got on the flight. Sat on the aeroplane. I was next to a couple of people. First on, last off, whatever. It was one of those Airbuses with like 800 people. No, sorry, 500 people.
Are you on your own now or escorted?
Yeah, escorted.
You're escorted?
Yeah, police everywhere. But a bit not tight, because I'd finished, you know what I mean? I had to get on a 737 from, it wasn't Don Juan, it was a new airport. It wasn't the one I tried to smuggle out of, it was the other one. And they took me to Malaysia. And it was pretty laid back. I could get cups of tea and stuff, you know what I mean? I'd done that. On the 737, out of Thai airspace, yes. I hit Malaysia, where they do execute you, right? They hang you, definitely. And I had an escort there, airport security, police or whatever, brilliant bloke. He gave me his last 4 or 5 ringgit notes, nothing else left in his pocket. He goes, what, you ain't got no money? And he escorted me about, getting me snacks and coffees and everything there. And he gave me the money, made sure I got on the plane. I forget if I was first or last on that one, maybe first on the plane. Sat down, weird feeling, big planes, and that people next to me, there's television on the back of the seats. I was clueless. How do you work this thing? So I asked the people next to me, I said, I hope this doesn't sound wrong. I shouldn't have said it. So I've just done 18 years in Thai prison, already there, aren't they? Like we sat next to now. I said, for drugs, not murder. You know what I mean? So they, I don't know, reluctantly or not, helped me out, got the thing working. Long flight, 11, 12 hours, whatever.
Excited though.
Yeah, brilliant. I still had shorts and flip-flops because I give Shogo, one of my Jap mates, the year before he got out on the King's birthday, on the December the 6th one. This is August now, it's coming September. He got out the year before. The only pair of long trousers I had, I gave to him because he went back on some sort of treaty deal, something else to Japan. Shogo, the little Yakuza. He was Yamaguchi Yakuza, but he was freelance when he'd done his job, so the Yakuza couldn't really help him in prison, you know what I mean? And the guy that he was working with helped him until he got cancelled or something. But I gave him a long pair of trousers. I was in shorts and flip-flops when I hit Heathrow.
What did it feel like landing at Heathrow?
Incredible. Shorts and trousers. Saw me dad and me brother, Bobby, stepbrother, waiting for me and all the rest of that. I'm doing kung fu things, mucking around, talking shit. You know what I mean? I'm overexcited. And took me to Tesco's, first pair of jeans, long jeans. Wow, these feel weird. And they done a deal to try to be helpful, but it didn't. Borough councils don't link up. I didn't know this at the time. They got in touch with the New Forest Council, Lymington Borough, to, thinking that when I'm in London, put me in a guest house at a hotel place at Finchley Park, that I'd be all right. They'd link up boroughs and I'd get a council place quick because of my thing, 18 years. But there's no after out for me because I just got released. They didn't know what to do with me at the airport at first. What do you do with him? They said, let me go. I had a passport, a Polaroid. I got a pretty big nose anyway. But the guy that took it went too close to the Polaroid, so it's just a nose on the photograph, right? There's a little pair of eyes. Anyway, that's a mustard one they give you for just deportation. So they took the passport off me. I'm through. See me dad and that. Tesco's trousers, some grub. Right, you're staying here a couple of nights. Why? It was near a charity base, Prisoners Abroad, to help you out.
They helped me out, yeah, great people.
They were right, and they're good, aren't they? Yeah, Theo and that. Was Theo about when you done it? Theo was the head man. Yeah, he's all right. And I went to their HQ. Not easy to get in there. They let me in. They give me 250 quid cash. I couldn't believe it. It's the most money I had. It's not a lot, but I thought it was because I went in 94, didn't I? So it was a nice day. I got my long trousers and my flip-flops on. Stayed at this place. It was when the Paraplegic Olympics were on in 2012. South African guy there, listened to all his stories. I had 3 cans of Foster's, pissed, mangled. Went to PA the next morning. Didn't recognise a single car. Apprehensive crossing roads. The only car I'd recognise is something like an Escort. It's a classic, but I found it fascinating. Like Buck Rogers or something. I saw an acupuncture place because of all the Qigong, thinking, yeah, I could speak a bit of Mandarin and all that. I go in here, wrong turn in, ended up in a church with a damnation African preacher in there, trying to preach and everything. Here's the collection. I accidentally put 4 quid in it. No, I didn't mean to put £2 coins in. I don't know where they are properly yet. And can't ask for them back, can you? So I went to Balham thinking I'd get a bit of resin because I used to live in Balham in the 80s. We're 30 years on now, isn't it? Not that. Yeah, 30 years, isn't it? 80? 85. That's 20 odd years on. I thought I'd go to the Bedford Arms where the Jamaicans used to be. Of course they weren't there. I ended up 250 quid getting Tesco's phone my dad had got for me. And all the rest of it, couldn't work it, asking barmaids to do it for me and all that. Tried to get a working girl. They said, you're too drunk, kicked me out. Then East Europeans, I didn't know they were there yet. I went to an old local pub I went to 25 years ago in Balham, and I got drunk trying to tell them I'd been in prison. No one believed me, of course. I said, I have. I had my mug shot and everything. They still didn't believe me. But it didn't matter. I got on the wrong train, Clapham Junction. They said platform 9 or whatever. I got on the platform, jumped on the first train, ended up in Alton. I didn't forget all different trains come there. I'd done that 3 times, got it wrong. I got home, then I just stayed at my mum's and that. Helped my brother do some gardening a couple of days later. Then I was back on the asbestos within 2 weeks. So gradually feeling my way back in. No aftercare, no help. The council thing didn't work, like linking London up via PA for the Lymington Council in the New Forest to get a flat because they don't interconnect councils. They're all their own borough. That's it.
What about writing the book? When did that occur?
I tried twice. Once on mini DVDs, CDs, speaking on them. Mini ones. My dad had an old mini thing. I messed it up somehow. It took me ages. Done over half the book. I messed it up. And another time, I had a voice recorder I bought specially with my daughter when we were still connecting and all that. And I bought one of them. And I talked to it for ages and ages and ages. I got pissed one day and I was stoned as well. And I pressed the wrong button and deleted the lot. And I thought, right, for F this, no more book. That's it, no more book. Got angry. Done the podcasts. I'd done James English. And then Billy Moore, I was in touch with as well. He put his on first, which annoyed James and all this. It's how it goes, isn't it? 3 years later, Nick, my ghostwriter, saw it. It's a fascination with Banged Up Abroad and all the rest of it. He's watched every single one of them. He's been to Thailand stacks of times, so he knows the feel, the smells, the tastes. He met Andy Hawkes, another British guy that had been in there, and spent time with him, had a beer and that, and met his partner, his friend. So he knew a lot about it. He's really good, Nick. He's spot on. Yeah, he knows Thailand, he knows everything. So he's the guy that, approached me via that podcast, everything, and it went on from there. It took 2.5 years to do that.
Do you appreciate life now?
Yeah, of course.
Freedom?
Yeah, it's brilliant. second go, isn't it? Take off 18. What am I? I'm 64 already. Yeah. So I'm 46, isn't it? Because I lost 18.
So what advice do you have for young people who are watching this who might be tempted to get involved in drugs?
I done an LBC thing on that, latest British conversation a few weeks ago. It's just it's obvious, don't get involved with it. And if you do, just put your hands up, so don't fight it, because you really will get the bigger sentence, because it's normally them that's giving you. The authorities have given it you in the first place, corrupt variants of it, the police or the army, especially in Thailand, it's usually come from, so they know you've got it, so they just go and grab you.
It's not worth it.
So what's the point of fighting it and wasting their time and getting double the sentence?
And some of these people get set up, don't they, so they can get bigger loads across and things like that.
Yeah, they do. But look at the price of it. No one's going to take a chance, sneak it in their bag and take it out the other end, because they don't know, or whatever. They don't know if my dad's a policeman. So just approach me, "Oi, Johnny, can you carry that?" Yeah, you know what I mean? My cousin used to be a policewoman. But, they got to check your background and that. They've got to know you for a good year or so. So that's where a lot of that comes unstuck. Those recent ones, by the way, with the Angel Delight thing, I think they only got a year. But they got a different prime minister now, haven't they? I found out. No, I didn't know that. Someone told me. They told me. They got a different prime minister there now. It's a bit more lenient. Lucky they didn't get bloody shot like those 11 Australians.
Johnny, what an amazing story, viewers. There's the book.
Thank you.
Check it out.
Cheers.
Published by Maverick House. Link will be in the description box. Are you on the socials if people want to reach out?
Yeah, this is all on Amazon. It's on Goodreads, Amazon.
What about you? Are you on like Facebook, X, Instagram, things like that?
I've got a phone virus. I just took it all off today. But yeah, I liven it all back up again. I'll just get a battery in my other phone replaced, and I'll do it. I'll be back on next couple of days.
Brilliant, man. Mesmerising. Give us a hug.
Lovely.
Well done, Johnny. Yeah, sweet.
Thanks, guys.
That was fascinating.
Amazing.